Recovery well underway here this morning. Futures climbing back to the upside here by the minute almost. That's a look at the NASDAQ right now. Well off the lows down here. 505, 512 coming into play right now. Yeah, still pretty ugly. 3.3%. Long way to go to where we were on Friday. What a difference a weekend makes, by the way, if you're just waking up to this term or word or name, I guess. DeepSeek, you're going to hear that a lot today, not only on this show, but probably everywhere. DeepSeek is China's answer to ChatGPT, and let's be honest, a lot more economical right across the board as far as what they spent on making it, what they need to spend on maintaining it. So a lot of details to kind of comb through here this morning. But what this has done is really hurt some of these AI-related plays. There's NVIDIA, the main one this morning, kind of curling back over right now, trying to hold on to 125, 126. That being said, there are positive names as well. I mean, Apple not really affected by this so far this morning. I mean, you were talking about QCOM as well, another one already green here to the tune of 1.3%. So it's not all bad, but overall tech under a lot of pressure here as we get going into, oh, by the way, what's going to be a monster earnings week coming up this week as well. Wednesday, looking like the big day.
What a way to start the week. I mean, we already had a big week, as you mentioned there, with earnings coming up. Apple, Amazon, other names as well, obviously coming in. And now this, DeepSeek, wow. And I was telling you off camera, just completely accidentally, I got into a bit of a deep dive on this on Friday. There's a really good piece by Deidre Bosa for CNBC on their YouTube. And I just, I started watching a little bit, and she had the Perplexity CEO on there, and he was really pounding the desk on this, Brendo. Lo and behold, they released that R1 over the weekend, which is the reasoning model, very similar to O1, and then all hell broke loose on Twitter. Everyone was caught tweeting. I don't know, is that the term anymore? But yeah, and when the futures opened last night, we were decidedly negative, and I kind of had a feeling that this was going to be the case. Woke up this morning, saw blood on the street.
Yeah, I mean, it did stabilize a little bit here. We are, as we mentioned, trying to get back to the upside. What this actually means going forward, we'll see. Time will tell, but a lot to discuss here this morning. Speaking of Perplexity, now apparently they want to merge with TikTok.
Yeah.
And then somehow give the government 50% as they're looking for, the U.S. government 50% ownership. So Perplexity making some moves. If you haven't, I mean, their latest version is pretty impressive as well on the search side of things, if you're doing anything web-based. So the race continues to heat up here, guys. But the action going to be pretty wild here, it looks like, so far.
Yeah, that's probably a little bit of an understatement. Look, what are we, 40 million counting volume on NVIDIA?
NVIDIA down 12%?
Well, yeah, 12% to the downside on ridiculous volume. Blue Ocean was definitely kicking butt in the overnight, because if you
get a refund on some of these purchases lately. This, I mean, I didn't sell anything at the top there.
Well, what's crazy about it is we were just sort of talking about this. It's not like, look, man, DeepSeek didn't come out overnight. Like, this was back in December, a month ago when it came out, and pretty much everyone ignored it. Are they really using the H100s? I don't know. Or not using the H100s? That's the real question. I mean, I don't know that you can know that definitively, but price is king. Doesn't matter what your theory might be. I remember on August 5th, this is not the same type of move as an unwinding of the carry trade, but obviously,
well, what was the market down that day? Because the NASDAQ...
Well, see, this is so different from that day, because the market itself, like, it was, like, today, this is an AI, like AI stocks, and then the infrastructure spend stocks are down, like those utility names are down big, and ASML and everything. But like Apple's flat, and like Walmart's doing okay. But on August 5th, like, everything was down. Like, there was no, oh, these are up and these are down.
It was like the market, it was fundamentally...
Yeah, it was a macro thing where everybody was down on August 5th, so therefore you're just like, if there's nobody selling at the open, it should only go up, and that's pretty much what happened, to the point that there was no liquidity on August 5th, unless you were okay, fine. You could probably have used market orders at the open on that day, but limit orders were not filling very well.
Have you seen how much volume NVIDIA has done so far?
40. This is unprecedented.
Sure.
Unprecedented
What is
volume.
AMD done? 40 million shares. Okay, 2 million shares there
This
for
is
AMD. What about for ARM? Let's just check out, see what ARM is doing today. Welcome, everybody. Yeah, 150. Okay, so 600,000. Okay, so, and then Apple's probably just under, 3 million as well. So, wow, it's NVIDIA right now, guys. I mean, it's blowing up all over the scanners. Everything we're talking about is going to be NVIDIA related. And you also have Tesla catching some shrapnel as well. I mean, all these reports coming. Brendan nailed it. Like on Wednesday, Tesla's report, I feel like is going to be a monster as well. This down 3% today. I said today when I came in, what am I going to buy? Am I going to buy in the morning, the middle of the day, at the close today? I think this is a great buying opportunity for many names. It's just maybe you got to, get your shopping list right. That's the thing. Like I was like, oh, maybe even Walmart is down today or something. Like, what can we pick up? No. Walmart today is upside, up 1%. So, there's going to be strengths and little pockets of weakness and strength. And then to Neil's point, the high flyer last week when, we're texting all of our friends, oh my God, look at SMR. Well, I'm not, maybe I won't text today. Down 15% all the way back. But look where we just came back to, the 50-period moving average. So a lot of these names, there's a lot of excitement there behind even the quantum names. But it's like, okay, if you liked it last week at like 18 or 19, or I guess it only got as high as 16, then maybe you like it today at 12. Give it a chance to sort of get some steam off of it. We were so heated up. I mean, the NASDAQ, all the markets were at all-time highs, and then this little nugget comes in. I mean, we deal with these things all the time. This one may be a little more serious. We'll have to wait to see what the CapEx spending is. We get answers on Wednesday when they all start to come through with Microsoft and Meta, and then that should calm the storm or add fuel potentially to the fire. But
so, we'll get to this.
Sharif brought up a good point about Colombia, man. Like, what about coffee?
No one's even. It's funny what no one's talking about this morning. It is crazy. But super Colombian. Well, we got a super chat, so let's get this out of the way.
Westermeyer,
Mr. Westermeyer, that's right. The Kansas City beat the Bills. Anyone that doesn't follow football probably doesn't care. And you know what? There's too much in the market. I'll rant about it later. Have some feelings about the game, obviously, but I will tell you this much: I have a great answer to why family is the best. Put my daughter to bed last night, and she turns to me and she says, "Daddy, are the Bills winning the game?" I said, "No, right now we're losing by 1. It was 23-22." And she says, "Oh, I'm sorry, Daddy." And I simply said, "You know what? That right there is why Daddy's always happy. Just the simple fact that you even care."
I'm sorry.
It's just like and she said it so sweetly, and I'm like, it doesn't matter if they win or lose, sweetheart, as long as you and Mommy are healthy. Like it's just, but the look in her eyes was like, okay, that's all I needed in the world. That said, I also could stand to have fair refs, but I'm not gonna.
I said to Marissa, the minute Neil mentions the Buffalo Bills, it will go immediately to Aaron.
Yeah.
I said that would be exactly what it was. So yeah, it sucks, but I think it's going to be a good Super Bowl. I think those two teams, well deserving. Obviously, I don't think you'll rant about your game, but at the end of the day, Josh Allen does not get it done, and that kind of sucks. So I wish that he had. Obviously, there's so many people around here that are Bills fans. Oh man. But anyways, Kansas City Chiefs go for it again. Now I kind of want them to win to three-peat it. I just want to see something different.
Really?
Happen. Why not? I mean, you only see a certain amount of things so many times in your life. Like Sharif's hoping to see the Dallas Cowboys make a Super Bowl again in his lifetime at some point.
Yeah.
Now they signed Schottenheimer. You didn't get Sanders.
Right.
There was no. Yeah, exactly. There was no Dion there. Just another one of those puppets for Jerry again. You like that one, Sharif, or what? I don't
mind him because he's got a little bit of experience. I like his old man. Obviously, Marty Schottenheimer is the OG. But yeah, we'll see what he does, Sean.
Yeah, we'll see. I think I was reading some rumors. You guys, trade up and maybe draft the Sanders kid anyways. We'll see what one.
Maybe.
Who knows? Okay. Well, Sharif, I mean, I know you're going to have lots of opinions, obviously being on the midday show and everything, but this is getting kind of scary out there. I didn't down 40 million share volume and 12%. I can't wait to hear what Michael Noss has to say about all this as well.
Oh, we got another super chat here.
Oh, we got another super chat. Okay, go ahead. Yeah.
Oh, Jaspreet Singh with a call here. I just pulled up the SPY just so I can make a point of this. SPY will be 550 by the FOMC meeting. So Jaspreet doesn't think it's like August. At 550, not 505. But still, that would be a hefty fall in the next couple of days. I mean, you're talking the 200 period, and it's not impossible. Just like we were saying, it's all about price action here. I cannot tell you the amount of times where the more crazily everybody is thinking negatively, especially at the open, is there any follow through when you're already down big? That's the one thing I always keep in the back of my mind, because a lot of times you see days like this, and regardless of what the long term or like the 2-day or 1 week move might be, that's typically irrelevant to what the first 30 minutes will be in the market. We've seen it blow out those tops, but yeah, the SPY, that would be one hefty fall there, Jaspreet.
Possible.
It could happen.
Down 2% right now. Back
The
on
desk?
the desk.
All right, there's Michael
Michael,
Noss. Happy Monday, Mr. Noss. You have a big week ahead, heading to New York for a couple of days. Then you're going to come up here and hang out with us on Friday. A lot to get to before that happens, any of that happens. We have pretty much the biggest week of earnings so far, anyways, to get through. Market in an interesting spot here, coming off all-time highs just a couple days ago. Let's not forget, right? All-time highs going into the weekend. What a difference a weekend makes, as I was mentioning.
Yeah, I made some tweets that are getting some pushback, right? Breaking news, the SPY is where it was like 4 days ago, and everyone's losing their mind. So we'll see. So it was kind of funny because I made this presentation on Sunday night, and the whole idea is having a shopping list for when pullbacks happen. So probably perfectly timed, right? If we continue to pull back and some of these names hit these levels. So yeah, the first chart I have, again, just the S&P 500, just showing that, you know, I think this is perfectly healthy and warranted, what we're seeing right now, regardless of what they're using as the reason for it. Because, you know, I'm highlighting that break under support that we had 2 weeks ago that just rallied like every day, just a lower high, lower or higher low, higher low, higher low, all the way to resistance. Every oscillator you could put on your screen showed, hey, we're getting a little overbought here. We hit this resistance zone. Remember a couple weeks ago when I gave this kind of pitch about how I think that year 3 might be a more choppy one, a little bit more problematic to trade. Kind of looks like that's what we're seeing, at least so far, pulling back a little bit and then, you know, bouncing pretty hard off the low. So the idea I was going to make, again, not knowing we were going to gap down this much today, is that in these situations, it might be worthwhile looking at other strategies. The last strategy that I talked about, that I'm teasing for kind of the visit when we talk about all these strategies together, was a trend continuation strategy, right? We were breaking anchored VWAPs and we were trying to hold them as they trended to the upside. That's going to work when the market's trending. If the market's in a choppy range like that, we're going to have to go to different strategies. So revision to the mean, pullback, that type of thing. So the next chart I have is just kind of the proof that this strategy works over time, right? This is an equity curve going back 20 years of kind of what would happen if you just traded the strategy. Nope. It's not up every year. It's not up every month. It's certainly not up every day. There's some days that there are pullbacks. There's some days that the system doesn't work, right? Which is why we're always looking at the overall market, because in some markets, trend following will work. In some market, pullback trading, which we're going to talk about now, will work, but generally not at the same time, and they're going to work in different environments, right? So if we are entering a choppy market, this is one that makes sense. And the idea is that when the market is pushing higher, we are not chasing it to highs. We are looking for areas in which stocks are going to pull back. And the basic premise behind this algorithm, this system that I've come up with, is just saying, okay, let me sort all of the stocks last week that were kind of up the most, but not, you know, crazy penny stocks and stuff like that. Things that had nice breakouts, things that hit new highs, had kind of expansion of ranges, and then let me just set prices for if they can pull back to those prices, I'm interested, and if not, they just continue higher, then I just kind of miss the trade. So that's the idea behind all of these that I'm going to show you, is that we are hoping for a pullback. Again, I run all of these on Saturday is when all the data gets calculated and everything, so I have no idea that we're going to pull back. So if things are going to go a bit crazy, I think we just be cautious, right? If we're just going to completely fall off the cliff, wait for some sort of support in some of these names to come in. So the first chart here, I saw actually Sean when I was in the green room, he's talking about SMR. This is the same kind of name, NNE, which is one of those small nuclear reactor guys that have been doing so well. Great breakout of this very clear resistance zone around $30 last week, rocketed all the way to 44 or so. but it's, that pullback into that zone that I have highlighted that's sitting around $32 to $35. That's what we're looking to see if we pull back. If I checked on that right on the open, we're getting pretty close to there. So again, we want to see a pullback into these zones, and then we want to see these levels hold. We just don't want to buy them the second it hits there. For me, it's zoom into a 30-minute chart or wait for a daily close with like a hammer candle or something that's showing me that, yes, they are respecting these zones as support. Next one here is Grail, GRAL. Not really much clue what these guys do, but look at that move from $17 to almost $30 last week, and then a nice pullback into this zone. So it's about $24, $25 a share we're looking for this to pull back into, and we're basically just marking those prior highs, the highs that we broke out of. And again, game plan is the same. We're looking for a pullback, we're looking for some confirmation that there's some buyers in place, and then we're looking to see if we can get these at a nice level, and just playing the volatility of, right, buy the dip, sell the rip, as opposed to breakouts. Last but not least is SMMT, and another therapeutics company. And this one's broken out of this really, really long base around $22 or so. And then now it's looking to pull back into it. I like the look of this because if you zoom out on this chart, this thing has gone from like $6 to $40 over the last little bit. So we're just trying to see if it's to pull back. But those are the ideas. But the main idea is that if we are going to see this choppy, volatile market, it makes sense to do this on the weekends or do this whenever you have time, is just make a list and say, wow, this name is really strong. If it pulls back to this level, I'm interested. And you're kind of making a shopping list, and then you're waiting for the market to do something like this. And if there's evidence that the market's going to bounce here or hold up, you already have a shopping list. You're not one of these people that's kind of panicking and saying, oh, what do I do? Do I sell everything? Do I do this? Do I do that? Because again, you already have your shopping list. You're just waiting for these names to hit your prices.
Interesting setups to come, not only this week potentially, but going forward. I want to get your take on this DeepSeek thing this morning, because you're a guy that relies a lot on data processing. Give me your thoughts here just from an overall perspective. How much have you been kind of playing around with the AI side of things with trading, and overall, what has your experience been?
I've been all in. So I've been using these. It's the first site that I open now. It's ChatGPT, Claude. I played with DeepSeek on the weekend. It was pretty smart as well. The reason that I use it is because I'm trying to get more quantitative and systematic about trading, but I'm not a programmer. So, I can use, as I'm building these scripts and testing these things, I can bring them to the AI and say, okay, what am I messing up here? Or I want to do this, give me a framework for it. And it's really, really, it was good. It was surprisingly good. So I think what the fear in the market right now is that they seem to have not quite caught up to ChatGPT, but made big leaps to catch up to ChatGPT. And they did so without needing all of the CapEx spending that's happened in America. Maybe. Again, it's China, so we don't really know what they ended up putting into it. So I am very interested on what's going forward. Again, I think that the AI revolution is certainly real. Again, it's gotten me to levels in my trading and what I do that I would not be able to do without it. I think the market is a little bit worried again, but we don't know what they're using to run this, and we don't know what the processes are. So if it turns out that China, plowed billions and billions of dollars to get this thing off the ground, then I think that's less worrisome. But if this was done relatively cheaply, then it is a moment where the market has to look at itself and say, hey man, have we just been spending way too much money? If someone else can come along and do the same thing that we've done way cheaper and get, I'd say it's probably 80-90% of the same result.
From a trading perspective along those same lines, when you talk about data processing, when you're talking about taking an idea, essentially going back over time and seeing, how it plays out, back testing an actual trading example, have you found it really levels the playing field and really expedites that process of getting to a yes or no answer on an idea?
Absolutely. And I think it's one of those things is it helps you challenge pre-existing notions. For someone like myself who's been in the market for a long period of time, there's something simple that might be said all the time. Say, hey, you want to buy stocks when they hit the 200-day moving average. It takes nothing now to, if you have the right data. I'm paying a lot for, 50 years of every stock data. I can go test that. I can say, what happens if that occurs? If I build a portfolio around that and say yes or no. And then what I think it helps as well is it gives me something to compare myself to, because I'm running these systems and it's saying this should be the average return and the average drawdown of what's happening. But then I'm putting my own discretion into it. I'm watching the market and I'm going through charts. So at the end of every day, whether if you're a day trader, at the end of every week, if you're a swing trader, I can say, well, this was my performance, and then this was the system's performance. Did I do better or did I do worse? And then it gives me that benchmark in which to evaluate myself and say, okay, maybe I should rely more on the system, or maybe I should rely more on discretion. And I find that guidepost super, super interesting. And I think it'd be huge, especially for day traders, where at the end of the day, sometimes you lose money, and that's a good day. And sometimes at the end of the day, you make money, and that's a bad day. So it becomes very hard to have a benchmark in which to hold yourself to.
It's a fascinating time, specifically for traders, I think, because of this and how it's going to fit into this world as well. Safe travels. Have a great time in New York City. Shout out to our friends over at All Star Charts. Say hi for us, and we'll see you on Friday.
I will. I'll see you on Friday in person.
That's right.
Lucky
Mr. Nos will be in the house, and
Yeah, safe travels.
can't wait to have him in the building for sure. And like that's actually the sort of the point that we're making. Hey, look, if this works, NVIDIA could, if it works and it's this cheap, which it works. I think that's the thing that's been proven. And is it this cheap? That's the open question mark. NVIDIA could fall a heck of a lot further. That necessarily doesn't mean that'll happen. It would happen today. But you also have to look at the other side of it. Like, what if, as he said, they're spending a ton and just not saying that they have the H100s in there? Like, that would change the litmus a little bit. There are a few questions about, like, why are certain
Wait a minute, you can't trust China? Is that what you're saying?
Well, I'm just throwing it out
is that-
there. They may not be as corrupt as the referees in the NFL, but I mean, they are what, it is what it is. But there's some stocks that aren't down today, and I think the simple, for lack of better explanation, would be, like, Apple's not down because Apple wasn't buying NVIDIA chips and doing the same crazy spend. Intel's not down because Intel was never benefiting from the AI race in the first place. So, like, there's going to be things that make sense in that regard, but then there's other things that are down just for reasons, like quantum names are down 10%. Like, I can understand risk off, dragging them with it, but try not to get so wrapped up in the always having to have an explanation for why this is up or why that's down. It won't always make sense, but I think in this case with like Apple and Intel, it does make sense why they're not cratering, because they're distinctly different from some of their peers in that regard.
Yeah, Brandon brought up Qualcomm and a few other names that were starting to go places. Oracle getting hit down to 168 as well. I mean, there's some. Oracle. I guess that would be another thing here. If they're dumping all this money into AI, that's why I was talking about ARM. Oracle down 9%. So this is another name that's getting taken out back here a little bit, down to 168. I was just trying to find a level there, but yeah, the 200 period is down to 150, so we're not there yet. But yeah, wow. I mean, like that. Remember, like last week we were saying, if you like the story, let it come back a little bit. I mean, we were saying that with ARM, and then it came back in one day. Oracle kind of hung out until it didn't. So what was the other one? There was also it was Oracle, ARM. Oh, we already know that. Yeah. VST and all them sort of started to come back in as well. VST is probably not a NASDAQ name, is it? There it is. So here goes VST. Back down to 160 there today off of a 190. So this is only back to the 50 period. But as Michael said, I mean, he was putting out some tweets there, and the SPY was just back to last week levels right now. So yeah, there's been some froth taken off right now, but a lot more downside to come if you believe in some of these overspend on the AI front. So yeah, all right, let's go find out what's been upgraded and downgraded.
Twilio getting an upgrade from Goldman Sachs. You may recall this one had pretty intense rally, up more than 20% on Friday after providing strong preliminary earnings. So TWLO, though down on the day, definitely on watch here. Take-Two Interactive getting an upgrade from UBS. American Express, which reported earnings Friday morning, they're getting an upgrade today from Maness, Crespi, and Hart. And Alphabet down in the day like a lot of these other AI-implicated names, but still getting this price target increase to $225 from Needham. Now on the downgrade side of things, we have Plug Power getting downgraded by Seaport Research with a $1 price target. Barrick Gold here with a BofA Securities downgrade. DR Horton getting downgraded here also by BofA Securities. And last but not least, Fannie Mae down about 7%, getting a price target increase, but a downgrade. Keith Briette, lots of names to talk about here, guys.
Was that Kyle Burdett that downgraded Fannie Mae
I
there?
miss
Keith Brillette.
Keith Brillette.
Keith Brillette and Kyle Burdett both downgrading.
I've never seen that name on the, because on the upgrades and downgrades list, like there's, I'd say like 70 to 80% of the names that do the upgrade and downgrade,
some random
we
name.
recognize them.
Yeah.
But why not?
They probably have like billions of dollars under.
Do you think?
So I have no idea. But here's a Fannie Mae chart. I mean, I don't. You're down to $5. This name, I've been trying to trade this month, and I'm not up on it. I'm trying to figure this out. Upside here up to $7, came all the way back in again, and this is just one of those names where Bill Ackman sent out some papers on this and talking about maybe even a special dividend or the fact that Trump is going to once again make this company private. So we're going to have to wait to see if that does come through. Some of the talk was $30 to $40 a share if they were able to unlock it, but I don't know. That has to get passed, and apparently, with the Republican look, it's been on Trump's mind apparently, but this is going to be one of those things. So just shout out to Jeff Mendel. It's on 100,000 shares. It's sister here, Fannie Mae, and brother Freddie Mac right here, FMCC, also down that 5%. So that could be something there. And then Adara mentioned Alphabet with the upgrade and still getting hit a little bit there as quantum gets hit, as we sort of rethink about what's going on in this space again. But if, sure, you were just there again at all-time highs and then a fade back in. So you have to think about some names that, might get wrapped up here that were actually starting to break out. Google is one of them, and it's a big piece of my book. And then Amazon as well was another name, another big piece of my book that was near the top and then now is no longer. So, you're getting some big flush opportunities in many names today, but don't, when you're looking at charts, it didn't really touch, that 220, these are dark pool, some of these wicks, you didn't really get a chance to execute at too many of these really low, like Tesla. How many of you, and my chart just starts when it starts. I only started this today at 7 o'clock, but that was 385. I think it even went lower than that, obviously in the pre-market, much lower. So it's now you really got to deal with the current prices. So Tesla down 3% is kind of like any other Monday, really, right? I mean, we've had Tesla up and down 6-7% on stories. So let's wait to see if the market can battle back in general here today, as some of these prices got real low real early.
And people were willing to buy them up. So there's this Holo. There's a story on Holo, and if the market rebounds from this, I think you might see some crazy action in Holo, because MicroCloud is up after they announced plans to adopt DeepSeek's model, so the R1 model, into their AI application. So basically, there's this, and there's another company. I'll ask Adara maybe. There's another company that's gapped up with a partnership with DeepSeek. But this is going to be volatile today. It's going to do at least a couple 100 million shares on Holo, because anybody that ends up being directly related to DeepSeek today is probably going to be wild and active. That said, if the market were to rebound, I would suspect this has a potential to be a little bit inverse to how things are trading with the overall, well, I shouldn't say the overall market, with specifically NVIDIA and the AI tech names. Then you pull up a 15 on this, this has been bleeding for a couple of weeks now. And this $3 level is kind of an obvious inflection point. It's already tagged it once. If there's a secondary push on this, I think it needs to be through that 3. And Holo, just to get you guys afloat, 27% of its 5.5 million float is short. So this is, in retrospect, it probably hasn't even moved that much. If it can get through and hold bids above 3, you get some squeeze action on this HOLO. I would imagine some shorts in this would be a little bit happy to take some profit today.
Just real quickly, I'm going to go long a little bit of NVIDIA here if it breaks 128. It's on the sticky note here today. I like the stock. It's going to be one of the top ideas for myself here. So I'm going to take that right there, NVIDIA 128 long. It's just, I wrote this a while ago, but it's been holding down near that 125. And we're obviously going to talk about this on the watch list. So that's coming up in just a second. Scan the QR code, but I just want to let people know that I will be entering into this sort of a break. 127 was a better break. We should have probably taken that. So that's 50 cents in the money now. But we'll try a small piece of action here on NVIDIA, 127.50. Take it now, but I'm going to wait for 128, maybe even a pullback into 127, and we'll try the long as well on NVIDIA.
We were just talking about some AI agent sites that have popped up. I mean, they've been around for a couple of weeks, but gaining more popularity. It just seems like all of this is happening all at the same time. There's like one that's called Lindy, Lindy, just an automation type of platform, and Fixer is another one that's an email automation platform. So that like there's so much happening right now, it's crazy. I want to mention quickly, there's positivity not only because of this DeepSeek note in China today. So DADA, JD.com looking to take the rest of this that they don't already own in a cash deal. So DADA up decent, 30% here on that this morning. But I mean, there's a lot of Chinese ADRs I'm seeing here this morning also higher on this note.
Yeah, and the K-Web and the FXI are already up 1 1/3 to begin the day. So we'll keep an eye on China. Should be a good tailwind for them today if we continue after the bell. They have a tendency of gapping down, filling the gaps after the bell rings. Should we look at the future?
Yeah, there's JG is another one as well, little Chinese ADR that's mobile tied. So JG up huge, 163 or 163%. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, Dara was telling me about that one in the morning. All right, guys, the ES, we're down decidedly already to begin the day, down over 2%. We printed all-time highs on the SPX. Couldn't quite get to all-time highs on the ES March contract. We're still below those early December highs. But we closed out at 61.33, like I mentioned. We're barely holding on to 6,000 right now. The overnight low, 59.48. So we're going to use 59.50 as our support level, especially if we give way to 6,000 at the bell. If we continue moving up, we're looking at 650 as resistance.
All right, lots to understand this morning. If you haven't done so, jump down to the description of this video. Top link in the description will get you to the sign-up page for the watch list. Has everything you need to know on it every single day. Before we come on at 8:30, comes right to your inbox for free. Already trying to retake 127 here for NVIDIA. Still better part of 11% to the downside this morning on this DeepSeek. We don't even really fully understand, I think, what the true details of this story is.
No, and I was using it yesterday, so full disclosure, I got to try it. I used their R1 version, which is very similar to O1, which is the reasoning model. It did very well with the regular model and the reasoning model. It's down right now, I'm assuming because of high demand, but we'll keep an eye on that. Already down 11% on the day is NVIDIA, and the advancements obviously are going to trigger concerns about continued spending. So Meta just released a statement with Zuckerberg last week that he was going to spend about $60 to $65 billion in addition to what the other hyperscalers are spending. Does that number, does that figure continue to be accurate going forward, given what the Chinese have just done? Now, I'm not going to belabor the point, but basically, Brendo, there are spikes in the math with the reasoning, or with the prediction, I should say, of these models. And the only way to get the spike down is to use more GPUs. The Chinese figured an algorithm to do that. Costs way, way less and a lot faster.
But this is what you and I were just talking about and what I was referring to, in the sense that, yes, they spent a fraction on building this thing, but are we seeing that in the simple fact that I just tried to log in again, and of course now it's working, but it wasn't all morning long. So maybe the support and the back end of it, not quite there yet. So as I mentioned, time will tell.
And I just want to mention one quick thing. So we're basically basing everything on the information that they've given us. Bernstein's questioning a lot of the assertions that they're making. They're questioning the $66 million development cost. They're also questioning the actual time that it took. So if you believe China's a black box, you're questioning a lot.
No, and that's a great point, in the sense that do we even trust, what we're being told on the spend side, guys?
I mean,
no.
Yeah, why would you? You have to say you would have the same skepticism as you would normally have. Also, don't ask it certain questions. Obviously, well, Sharif, it's just true. Yeah. It's just.
Well, what's the difference?
No, there was a specifically someone had prompted, and they posted this. You can find it on social media. They had asked, "What is the famous picture with a man holding some shopping bags in front of a tank?" Okay. To which it actually started to answer, and then it's like, this is out of my purview or something. So like there's certain obvious things that you're not going to be able to get the goods on. So look, all this remains to be seen.
I mean, COVID.
Yeah, price don't lie. At the end of the day, there was a good question, like what happens at 9:30 when a bunch of people's stop orders come in? Are there going to be people that have stop orders that trigger when the market opens? 100%. That's just it's a guarantee. Like when you're through 130, you're through 135, like things like that. 140 also got broken. So there's probably a bunch of stop orders that triggered the open. That was also true on August 5th, and the market still managed to bounce. NVIDIA will be short sale restricted, which is a very unique situation. As long as something crazy doesn't happen, we're 25 minutes to go. It's 11% down. I'm looking SSR bounces. I don't want to say everywhere, but more or less everywhere. And it's above the 200 period, which is actually at 121. And there is a sizable gap back in. If you go to the daily, it's about 127.50 to a prior resistance zone. And then there's still this like at 129. So you're in a nice little pocket where any relief rally looks pretty good to me. It's not very often you get this down 10%. So for an SSR bounce, it's the evens that I'm going to like here. Right now, pre-market support was sitting at 125 when I thought about this, and we were a little bit different now. So if it can't break the low, there's only one place to go, is my motto at the open with an SSR name. And if we do have a very big red day, I did have eyeballs on a 120 if we actually got up there on AMD. Like if I see AMD, we'll have bad wick there. If I see AMD pop and fade the 120 level, 120 was kind of a big level for AMD last week. That would be one to play off of there. But yeah, if we're SSR at the open, I'm looking for that SSR bounce.
Yeah, I mean, my orders are already in. So, yeah, SSR bounce all day. We're going to take 128 long. We talked about that. So that's orders already in. I'm also buying it down here at VWAP. If we can come back in, Fabian, to VWAP down here around 126. I think this is worth a little bit of a buy. Obviously, if we get that level that Neil was talking about, 121, I mean, that would be, let's go. Like that we would love to get that level. So I'll be in this name until like that pre-market bottom is 124.50. I just feel like if we sort of zoom back out here, we'll use E-signal right now chart to show you guys. Like here's a 20-minute chart. So, you know, you're well underneath everything, right? And so there's like 130. So if you're looking short, you could get it to 130. I just think if we get to 130, then we're probably mooning here today. So I want to look to see for a moon on this stock, like just a battle right back. Like this is a 60-minute chart. Like we have to go, you know, quite far back to see some of these levels. So I'm really looking now 127, 128. This little break level long. Yeah, a little whoosh opportunity in the afternoon, and I think it's back. You know, if we whoosh down, then you want to look for the afternoon. But for right now, like there's 129. You know, down there, there's your 121. That's a 200 period moving average. I mean, that would be fantastic to try to get something there. So you know, whether or not it happens today or not, definitely NVIDIA, 50 million shares has to be on your mind. And I already have it broken down to the play I'm looking for here. And that is a break of 128. Take it with a small amount of shares, not a small amount, but maybe a quarter size position, and then see if it gets going. Because if you're right, it's going to be huge, I think. And if you're wrong, you could get a retest back into 126. And then if you lose 126, then you're obviously looking at this 124.50. And then a loss of that, we just showed you, there's really nothing else down below. So I'm really a little nervous about losing that 124-ish area. So that'll be my stop. So it's $2, $3 worth of a play. We have to do it. It's NVIDIA. It's been a monster stock for me for a while. We're going to continue to play it.
All right, let's continue along here. Crypto downside, a bit of a risk-off play, it seems, this morning. 4.3% here for IBIT. Nice rebound already, up to 58. We go out on Friday around $60, though. So we'll see if we can hold higher here. It still looks constructive overall.
It's trying to defend 100,000 right now. We're back a little bit above it. Depending on when your crypto percentage up on the day counter started, we're down 4.25. I was reading an interesting article here from Arthur Hayes. He's a noted crypto bull. He's obviously one of the founders of BitMEX, which is a derivatives trading platform. He's talking about a short-term correction of Bitcoin, technically here, coming down to about 70 to 75,000, but he does expect it to hit about $250,000 by the year end. He's forecasting what he calls a mini financial crisis. Should be noted, we had about $400 million already in liquidations in Bitcoin spot ETFs. So we'll keep an eye on this one. Already down nicely here. Might be a buying opportunity, Brian.
Yeah, decent volume behind, I mean, IBIT anyways. Coinbase actually not as bad right now, just 3.7, but rolling over a little bit here, guys, off 290.
Yeah, like, look, I think as long as, like, right now we're holding 100 pretty well on IBIT, probably just, like, we're following the market on Bitcoin. You pull up a chart of the Qs, you pull up a chart of Bitcoin, and you're kind of seeing that reflected. I mean, that said, if we're gonna get a bounce, you've got that nice, and it's about 56, I don't know, like 56.8 or something like that, works out to 100 or 56.9, just underneath the $57 level. And I'm looking at this, like 57 and a third. We get and hold above that level, I'm just looking relief rally long. If the market decides it wants to drop like a rock today, then I feel like the places that you're going to want to be are like the NVIDIAs of the world on like some kind of a reversal. Maybe some of the infrastructure utility names I think are going to be under a little bit of pressure. The nuclear names, like those types of names, will be there. But I just want to be looking for that 57 third long here on IBIT. If it never comes, I don't have to trade it. I think if the support levels are well underneath the 100,000, down at like 96 and then 90 to 92, so really need to be taking out this 57 and a third to the upside to like that long for myself.
All right, so I have IBIT, so it's funny because we have NVIDIA as the number one, and then we have IBIT as our number two idea. Buying the dip back to the 8 a.m. levels, but I said 100K is in sight, so be patient with it. Well, that was when it was like at 105 or so. Now you're getting a dip down into that 100K level. And IBIT, I mean, it looks like 56. The reason why I liked this level was just looking at where we had been sort of today already and trying to figure out some of those lows. So again, if the market comes back in, we're long NVIDIA. We took a small piece at VWAP. We talked about that. So we're long at 126. Yeah, you can see it, 126.50 there. So if we drop into 56, I'm already bidding into this area. I just want to see if we lose that bottom, which it looks like will be around that 98K or so for Bitcoin. So looks like we're coming right back in. We always use the 15-minute chart here for BTC. And, did you have a chance to get away from this? I mean, here's the 200 period moving average, so choppy, right? So that was really tough. And then all of a sudden it breaks. I mean, I guess you could have got out of the way at 104 and change, break all the way down into, there it is. So I guess it's 99. So this is kind of the level that we're thinking of some kind of support there. You are going to get flushed out bottoms all the time. I mean, I wonder if we see 75 before we see 125. I mean, Bitcoin is still in a very, very good uptrend. I mean, if we're looking at a daily chart here, ranges, one day, there it is. You could see we're still holding highs here. It's still really nice. That's only the 50 period moving average. There are many stocks that we have just covered that are trying to get to the 200 period moving average. So that would be that 77, 75 area. So can crypto get down there? Yes, it can. Does it need another story? I think so. I mean, I think people will be sitting here buying at 91, 92 like they've been doing in the past. So we'll have to wait to see what happens here with BTC. But for me, I'm a buyer at these levels. Like, I think this looks fine to me, and especially if we do hold that 99K spot. But I'm bidding right now 56.25 on IBIT. So I want to, again, if there's a flush, we'll sit there and watch it. Now, what I'm doing is, even with this NVIDIA position, which obviously is going to be way too early, we're going to buy another one here at 125.50, is just nibbling here at the open. We still have 18 minutes, until this market opens up. So you're going to get imbalances, you're going to get stories, and you're going to get flushes. We just went up to 20. Remember we were talking before, like 22,000. You're only at 21.1. So of course it's a nice flush down. That bottom there of 27, like 20,750, like that's going to be, if that comes into play again, then, oh my gosh, we are going to be in a flush city mode, and we're going to get our shorts ready to go. And if you're looking for some kind of a short in the NASDAQ, I'm just looking now at 21,000, which is just right here. Tried to get back, flushed off of it again, bounced around before kicking back, and then tried to retest and went. So right now, the market is definitely on a highway the wrong way here, unless you are short. So. All right, that's NVIDIA and crypto. Oh, and here's another name. Okay, so we don't have too many positive stories here, maybe until Apple, and that might not even be that positive after all. So, all right, Tesla, SoFi, Apple. Let's go hear the story on Tesla.
It's all bad.
Yeah, let's talk some Tesla. 3.3% right now, rolling over as well, trying to get back down to 390 here. I mean, yeah, there's not a heck of a lot. We do get earnings coming up. Hey, you can buy the new Model Y in Canada now as well.
Hey, yeah, it's only like 10,000 more expensive. No, seriously, a couple of headlines today, guys. Tesla challenging the EU tariffs on China-made EVs because they import some of their Shanghai-produced cars into Europe. Tesla has the best tariff rate right now from the EU, 7.8%. Doesn't matter. They're going to join BMW, BYD, Geely, and others to take the European take this EU tariff to the Court of Justice in the European Union. Typically lasts about 18 months to get settled. Separately, we're going to get Tesla's deliveries and earnings this week, and we're looking for more information on the Model 2, Model Q, whatever you want to call it. It's the lower cost EV that we've been waiting for Tesla. Tesla is forecasting 30% delivery growth in 2025. That's got to come from somewhere. So we'll keep an eye on that. Analysts are forecasting Tesla will sell about 2.1 million cars in 2025, a 16% increase from 24 when they dropped sales a little bit over here. And they're also expecting automotive gross margins to continue to decline a little bit from 17% to about 16 and a fifth, Brendo.
Yeah, this is a market move. It seems like anyways this morning, guys, not a really a Tesla thing.
Yeah, it's like none of the catalysts for Tesla, are causing this to move 3 1/3% to the downside. I mean, it's actually almost exactly what the Nasdaq is down on Tesla, almost to the. Okay, it's not exactly, but it's as close as you're going to get. So if we relief rally it, I just have an over under 395. Like that was a big close. Multiple days we closed pretty much at that price. Going back a couple weeks, it was a local support, and if we're able to regain that, I just think you have a decent sized gap fill from 95 into 405 there on Tesla. So I think this is worth, worth a shot today if we can break it back out. There's going to be stop orders that get triggered, I should say, underneath that 400. So you want to see the buyers start to emerge and be able to chew through those at the open. Probably going to get some imbalances this morning. So if you're shocked by some of the things that you see on a non-Friday at about 9:25 or so, I wouldn't be. You should be expecting some larger buy or sell imbalances through. But yeah, 395, simple over under. I meant to look at Rivian, but there were so many things to watch today that I really wasn't paying too much attention. And some of that was because of the next name that we're going to talk about.
Yeah, I didn't look at how far down is Rivian? 1250. Okay. Yeah, so I didn't even look at Tesla today. I just feel the same way. It's kind of stuck in the middle. You have earnings coming on Wednesday. This is much more than a car company. Obviously, it's an AI company at this point. I would just be very, very careful because you're at that 50-period moving average and you are slipping down here right now on TSLA. So it's just one of those levels that you're going to watch out for. 380, 375. That little whoops all the way down in here to 340. Maybe we see that kind of a flush into earnings season or after they report. Could be down that 10 or so percent, brings us into this like 350, 360 area for Tesla. But again, holding out pretty high. They're the best name in a bad neighborhood. I mean, no one wants any car names, right? So why are we even looking at Tesla right now? I just think it's in the middle. I'm not in love with the stock. Normally we'll play pre-market highs and lows. So I don't know, just like Neil said, it's like a proxy for the Nasdaq, and I don't really want to mess around with Tesla unless it has a really good catalyst behind it. So for now, I mean, Randy had a joke, which was kind of funny there. I don't know if it was a joke or not, but as they finally fixed the camera washer issue there. So he was really happy with that. So maybe a little bit of a bump on that news, but we're kind of just tongue-in-cheek with that. We'll have to wait to see if it takes out that 396. That's the 200-period moving average on the 1-minute chart. So I like that level, along with sort of those dark pool dumps there as well. So yeah, 396 on a break, and then I'd say stay clear of this, breaking lows. Anything that's breaking the low off the open, I almost feel like you want to just let's see what happens with it, because if you're going to go short something, I almost think you're much better just going short the market than individual names, because like, I'm not sure, like, will the bulls, like, will people go in and sell their Tesla positions ahead of earnings? It's just, there's all these kind of things, like, why not just get short the market, and that way you're not individually exposed to one stock, if that's the way you're thinking. I don't, anyways, we're going to wait on Tesla for a tank. That's all. Like, I'd rather see it hang that 380, and then we'll go from there. But for right here, I'm playing 396s or relax on Tesla. We've bought our last little bit there on NVIDIA right here at 125. So here it's coming in. You know, we have shares. It obviously would be nasty when and if it does break, but I'm going to look at that low, 124.50. Like if we break that on NVIDIA, then this dip buy is either way too early or whatever. Oh yeah, there's our charting. But I'm going to watch out because if we break that low, that's 122. But I just don't really see much until we get to like this 118, 120 area. So not really worth it for me to be dancing with NVIDIA here. So we're long right now, 125.85.
SoFi downside this morning. We get some earnings to start the week. Nice bounce underway here, back to $16 for this one. Sure, they reported wasn't great, yada, yada, yada. I don't think anyone's going to be paying attention to this today.
I don't think so, man. It's really not their day today. Let's talk about how they did, because there's a couple of good things and a couple of bad things. The good things is what they reported for the previous quarter, Q4 of 2024. They beat on EPS. They beat on earnings. Everything was rosy there. Their full year 2025 guidance, as well as their Q1 25 guidance, is where they missed in certain areas. EPS coming below estimates in both the full year and the Q1 2025. There's concerns about tightening EPS over here, as they actually have to pay a tax obligation for 2025. There is not reflected in their consensus ETF. Keep in mind that this company's changed markedly over the past year. 2024 was a really good year from them. They transitioned essentially from a debt refinancing lender to now a lending, financial service, and technology platform. So it's been a good, I guess, 12 months for them, but taking a bit of a hit today.
Yeah, I mean, the chart still looks great. As Michael Moss was saying about the overall market, if you zoom out a little bit on SoFi, we're racing 5 days of price action.
Well, it's
I mean,
it's going to be SSR as well here today. So SoFi down for other reasons, and not necessarily good. It wasn't that bad, the earnings, but price doesn't lie. And this is like 16.5, but I think you got to work almost like 16.8. It showed you 16.8. This prior high when close was 16.5. That's the, I don't want to say the kill zone, but that's the short zone for me on SoFi. I just look at where this is coming from, like resistance at 18 already. So you had a boatload of sellers at 18 last week going into this earnings. Definitely room to get back into 15 in that 50 period on the daily. So I was kind of thinking you'd get like an SSR bounce and then fade into this 1680 level. So 1650 to 1680, that's my short zone on SoFi. It will be short sell restricted, barring some kind of a change in the next 8 minutes. Down 11% is SoFi. I still like them in the long run, but we've seen this before. Like I can't remember the last time SoFi was great on an earnings day. Like either like gaps up and gives it back, or it starts weak and then has to claw back. Either way, this one's going in the red for me.
All right, let's make SoFi great again here. $15 long bounce is what we're looking for there. I just said it's too beat up. It's too much of an overreaction, I felt like, there for SoFi. So it's there on the sticky note. NVIDIA just went back, almost went back through 126. So we're going to have to see if that one can get going. I'm a little nervous because we have imbalances coming out. All right, so just again for this. Look, down 11%. Neil just mentioned it. There's 15 right there, so I'm bidding 15 and a quarter, am I bidding? No, I'm bidding 15.50. So we actually are right into here right now, trying to buy a little bit there on SoFi, using 15 as the bottom. If we break 15, we'll give it a little more love down through there. We talked about this last week with Adara, like breaking 15, let's give it a few more cents underneath that, 14.90, 14.80, depending on your risk tolerance. But yeah, I think if you lose another $1 on SoFi, that's going to put it down like 14, 15%. It's too much, I think, and we really do like the name. I like the space, and to get diversified a little bit into some kind of financial there, that's maybe like a little new age financial. We have Affirm, we have Upstart, we have SoFi, we have Robinhood. I mean, some of these names maybe Robinhood. I mean, Robinhood still I was hoping it was actually going to be down a little more than this. I hadn't looked at it this morning. But Robinhood down into like 45-ish area, probably a decent buy right into those levels too. So, I do like some of the calls coming through on SoFi and on Robinhood. So for me, those are the early looks on that. Buy the dips in some of these newer aged. We saw new holdings get added to the index. And I just, I like SoFi. Their earnings weren't that bad, just not a great guide. So we're going to have to see if SoFi can pick it up from there. Student loans and all that stuff continue to be, a topic. So we'll see. But I like SoFi dip buying into $15. I'm already bidding $15.50, so we'll see.
Right. Apple, to wrap things up here, as we mentioned, it hasn't moved since we came on at 8:30. It's still 0.13, exactly the same. It's a daily chart. We're still sitting at this significant 220 level. Held support, held support, held support, held support. You get the picture here. Do we do it again?
We'll see, Brendo. I mean, it's the only one that in the Mag 7 that's not really taking a big hit today. There's a reason for that. They didn't spend all that much money on NVIDIA's chips or chips in general. We saw, that they picked up a little bit of TPUs from Google. They also picked up some Trainiums from Amazon, but no real big spending. I think that was one of the most underreported stories of 2024, the fact that there was not that much aggressive spending from Apple for AI. Another piece of news here, iOS 18.4, Fabian, is supposed to have the most advanced version of Siri, because the one that's still on my phone sucks. They've released 18.3, which has a lot of the advancements that they were touting back in WWDC of last year. Still, though, Brendo, missing that smarter Siri. We're going to have to wait till April, according to this article.
Yeah, let's see how things play out today. It might be the leader, possibly, guys, here for tech.
Yeah.
It might be. Unless you want to joke.
Kind of looks short.
Unless you want to joke around about Intel being the leader. No, it's like we said. I think one of the reasons why you're going to have some play here in Apple. Whoops, imbalances just came out there. Why you're going to have some play in Apple is they're not doing as much spending, and that's why they're not going to be as bad. NVIDIA 650 to the sell side, Oklo 400,000 to the sell side, QBTS, Qubits 400,000. Apple 300,000 to the sell side, Intel. So it's mostly sell and balance, although not, I don't want to say gigantic ones, but
I think these things are going to flush, man.
Yeah, so at the open, we're getting sell and balances. Well, first look for me was Friday support at 222 and then down at like the 220 level for Apple. So we might actually get this one coming in here at 222 there on Apple. Want to play inside the range. If it's like, if you don't lose the Friday low, then you don't break the low, there's only one place to go. That's what I'm thinking for just about everything in here today. So that's the first one that can come in is going to be this 122. Pre-market lows sit just underneath the 221. And I know we keep saying there's a couple of names that are strong. The other one is Intel. Again, it is what it is, but that low is 2075, at least for now. But with the sell imbalances, even this one's getting challenged as we speak. So I think Apple, ultimately, right now, it's a little inverse to the market, but once the market opens up, I think they should all move rather lockstep, at least for now. Didn't really get that 222, which is, there we go, just got the 222 now. That was a late.
Yeah, so Apple just flushing a little bit there on that. Look, I wrote down Apple on the sticky note that I like the short around 226, and the reason why is because it was up, honestly. And I was like, okay, on a strong name, if the market rallies, and what I wrote down was if we somehow can rally, then yeah, anything up here where we've topped out in good markets would be shorts for me. So 225 to 226 is a short area for me for Apple. That would be a name that I'd short. I know it's kind of counteractive to shorting strong names in weak markets, but other than just the futures itself, I just thought if Apple got going, then I'd like that short. I'd rather stay away from it right now because it's so hard against what we're doing. If anything, this is a look to buy for me there in Apple. So I think that that's going to be, a decent spot here. But again, off the open, we wait to see with these imbalances and where we go. So NVIDIA now is picking up on the sell side. So here it comes. You're going to lose that 124. And when we do, we're just going to punch out. I sort of, again, thought there could have been a little bit of a relief rally. Obviously, this thing comes to sell. Now it flips over to a buy. It's over 8 million shares is going to, there it goes. Okay, so there's a big flush. So we just get that last little spot. Okay, so yeah, this market, NVIDIA just whooshed down there. If we break through 124, we can just get out of this stock. It'll be obviously a hit early and learn our lesson for getting in. But there goes NVIDIA with a nice little move down into the south side of this trade, a break of 124. The order's already in. It will stop me out, and that really does suck, but now it's coming back a little bit. Okay, so that's that. Tesla right now as well, trying to battle just a bit.
Tesla bouncing nice.
All right, I'm going to get something out here. Yes, sir, there it is. Getting something out now. I'm going to get something out again right now at 125. Our average price is 125.25. So let's see where that was what it was. We just got some more out there at 125. Let's see if we get upside now in NVIDIA. Maybe, I don't think that was the ultimate flush there, but that was just a little bit of a reaction to those imbalances. So let's wait to, there it goes. See that? So let's wait to see what happens now with NVIDIA. I'm going to start to get something out even more aggressively now.
Yeah, market's starting to pop. Well, maybe the market didn't pop, but everything I was looking at just popped rather heavily. Apple just took out 223 and a half. I just saw 395 is going to come in really, really quickly on Tesla. That might break right away. And then the other thing, obviously, NVIDIA at the open here. If it doesn't break the low, there's only one place to go. SSR bounce. I'm looking for the wick underneath the low, the first even dollar, and then the mean reversion play as well. But with only 1 minute to go here, Apple looks like it's going to be fine. Wait, we're probably not going to get SoFi. SoFi would have to bounce like 5% to get in the short zone. Yeah. So the first things are going to be off the open, doesn't break the low, one place to go on NVIDIA, and Tesla looking like it wants to break out as well. With about 30 seconds to go in here, everybody. Just remember, there's going to be way more order flow at this open than you're used to. Stop orders are probably triggered for people overnight on positions. So if you have stops, if you want to guarantee to get out, usually more aggressive limit orders in this particular case are going to be needed. So here comes Tesla. Tesla's probably breaking the first thing right away here. Adair is in green, so maybe it's going to mean a little something here for us. Let's go, Adair. Let's ring this opening bell for, I don't know, we'll call it the DeepSeek Monday. In 2 and 1, let's go.
All right, market is now open, so I'm expecting to see a little bit of a flush here off the open for sure as we go. I don't know if we have quotes or what going on here, but the U.S. markets are now open with a lot of back and forth right now. This breaking looks like this will break that 124 now on NVIDIA, so watch out now. If it does, we will get stopped out. I mean, this is pretty violent action here right off the open. 78 million shares plus now on NVIDIA as it's, I'm just going to get some more out here because quotes a little bit shady right now. Nice move on Apple up to 225. There that name goes. Okay, there goes NVIDIA. So there's the flush. That might just actually have been the flush
that
there.
That looked like it to me.
Yeah, there it goes. There goes NVIDIA. We're going to buy a little bit down here, see if that was a little flush-a-rooney action right now on NVIDIA. But that was a nice move down into 123. So we'll have to be very, very careful now as we got stopped out trying to buy it back right now on NVIDIA. But yeah, nice move to the downside. There, my bad. We bought more.
There we go.
We are now up on NVIDIA on the day as it just starts to rifle right back. Screw you, NVIDIA. Honestly, man, we got taken out there at the bottom. But Neil, we are back in it right now, and it is a hell of a green stock right now for NVIDIA. But there goes Apple. Let's get away from that one as we short Apple, and that might be the win right there. Let's see if Apple wants to get to the downside. But right now it's NVIDIA, and we're going a little crazy right now on NVIDIA. We got stopped out at the bottom, but we bought that right back up on NVIDIA. And oh boy, there it is, bang. Just right now, let's figure out what's going on. I don't have the stream deck up, but we are going a little ham right now on NVIDIA. So let's go. Nice move upside. And Neil, I hate to say it, but day made right there. But this is really starting to rip. Like, I have no idea. These quotes are absolutely insane right now on the market. So
yeah, you got to, time and sales is your friend in this market. That's for sure. So Apple is now $4.50 into the upside, clean to the upside on Apple. I've got the trail on. At this point, I just keep trailing it. 226 is the latest trail here on Apple. And then NVIDIA, if it doesn't break the low, there's only one place to go. It wicked the bottom and now headed right back into the top to the upside. Here comes 127 on NVDA, and we'll see if we can't grab that one rather cleanly. Nothing really happening on SoFi. Tesla did break, did not get filled on Tesla long, but that's okay. Is what it is. Tesla absolutely flying to the upside, $397 on Tesla to the upside. Neil, so there's Apple. Yeah. Apple $5 in the money right now. That one's absolutely flying.
Yes, Neil. Boom, our biggest day of the month right now, right here in front of everybody. And there it goes, a nice move up there for NVIDIA. Our biggest day of, for me, my biggest day there of the month so far as it booms. We're now 2 times daily goal after we buy the dips on NVIDIA. We love that stock. That was an absolute monster of a play for us. We flat on Apple. Honestly, we had a tester position there. We loaded up NVIDIA there, guys. So there it goes, man. It's about trading. It's about getting comfortable in bigger share sizes. It's about hitting your goals. There it goes, man. It's a monster there for NVDA. I'm just going to start to get some out and then just go whoosh, because it's here, baby. That's your day again, Neil. It's another monster day here at Trader TV Live as we just blow up to the upside. So, oh man. Ooh, that was fun. I mean, now let's just regroup and we'll figure it all out. There it goes, man. I mean, Absolutely monstrous.
August 5th, man. That was the same thing that happened. Oh, this chart. August 5th, exactly the same thing we saw at the open. The only difference was it wasn't instantly up overall. Come on, give me this. I'll get to Tesla in a quick little second for you guys. Tesla did just pull back, so watch out. Tesla just wicked 400 and came back in rather heavily. I was just trailed out of Apple on that initial move. Come on, NVIDIA. NVIDIA just tried to hold through 128 just now. Gotta go to the black chart, sorry guys. Try to just hold the 128. We just broke the pre-market highs or pre-market resistance and are already starting to pull back in here. So the question I have is, look, can we just hold on to the prior low or prior resistance level? So if we get back in, I want the stair step to the upside, look for the reload around 125.75 to 126, and then a similar thing I'm looking for here on Apple. But Apple doesn't even want to pull back. Like it, over under the 227, it's now holding those highs. So Apple's still flying nice and high. Here comes Tesla. Tesla might give this 400 breakout as we speak. There we go. Now it's working.
Guys, shout out to absolutely everybody out there, man. What's up to Ozan and everybody that is part of Trader Nation? Because there we go, man. It's just another. It's NVIDIA, and it's just more NVIDIA. We'll talk about some other names, but for right now, it's NVIDIA. What's up, Adara?
We have Aurora Mobile, JG. This is actually a bullish DeepSeek play. Basically, Aurora announcing that they have actually integrated their DeepSeek R1 model into the company's GPT bots.ai. So Aurora Mobile announcing here this DeepSeek integration. JG, sharply to the upside. ETNB could be another small cap play on watch. I'm seeing some volume come in on that one on the scanners.
All right, like I know people are saying like, all right, so we just got filled at 127.40 there. That's how crazy these levels are. I know people are saying that like, you know, the pink shirt might mean rally. Well, the Nasdaq is still down 3%. So be very, very careful with those logics right there as we get more and more out. We are now, we only have like maybe 15% left or so of our NVIDIA trade. And again, we, you know, although this day is all about volatility, as we wrote down, it's also about respecting your game plan. You get the bottom right back to pre-market levels, we cashing out. So I'm gonna get out another piece right now into the teens of 126, start to ring the register. We were $5, we were long there at 123.50, all the way up to 128. So it's $4.50 in the money on what was a very big position. So we're really happy with that NVIDIA. And here we go, man. I'm going to take another piece out at 127. And then I have no more offers. So hopefully we can get back up to that upside if the market actually rallies today. You know, how high are we going to fly in some of these names, man? This could be like a record-breaking day for us here at Trader TV Live. So let's wait to see if that does happen. But for right now, it's NVIDIA. It's doing what it is. So, you know, be very, very patient with everything. I don't know if SoFi...
The other thing is, look, SoFi is actually pulling back. SoFi's not even doing anything, but remember this holo, which was upside while everything else was down. Yeah, well, if they're partnering with DeepSeek and everyone's selling the news on that, I just paid for locates. They're jokingly cheap. But holo just broke VWAP. If we hold up, if NVIDIA holds up, this thing is probably a dump zone. So I'm looking at these as inverse. If we can bounce off VWAP nicely, I want to short VWAP on HOLO. 100 shares cost absolutely nothing to short this, but I think it's an easy one to the south side. Apple's starting to pull back in for the first time, at least since we covered.
That's short.
I want VWAP to hold in here at 225 there on Apple. Ugh. Long into first resistance. Once it blew out the top, throw the trail in, and then look to see if it's going to retrace VWAP. But as you mentioned, NVIDIA is starting to pull back right into our support level. We want that 125 to hold. So did the SSR bounce? I want it to hold a higher low, look for a rounded bottom, and then we can get in. SoFi was the other name that we're trying to grab off the open. Let me just cancel that. Did not pop into 16.5, so I can cancel the order to try to go short there. Maybe it'll give a VWAP short or maybe 16.20 or so, something along those lines might make some sense. And then Bitcoin, holding VWAP, holding trend, looking pretty strong as far as I can tell, actually looking a little bit stronger than what I'm seeing in NVIDIA, but it's holding VWAP pretty nicely. Going to likely work into a long here on IBIT, but if it breaks this support, I mean, it's like 56, 88, whatever that works out to, I would just easily jump out of it.
All right, so that's NVIDIA, so we're fine with it. Let's just regroup and see what else is on. Sticky note. All right, so we want to look at Palantir because again, you know, like a name. I was thinking about Palantir today. If it ripped, it would be another one of those shorts. It looks like the Apple short for us. We should have just held on to it, and then we'd be 2 for 2 and like really laughing right now. Apple is a flat stock for us. We like 226 short on Apple. The only thing is I'm having a hard time getting into that short, especially with what the NASDAQ is doing right now. But okay, so right into there. Palantir, I was looking at 79. I was just like, hey man, like this is how bullish I thought the market could possibly be at the open. Right there into 79 and 80 for a short on Palantir, but you can see we don't get anywhere near there, of course, as it just sort of goes up and down. Nice little, pretty violent little $2.50 candles there in the first minute for PLTR. So maybe let's let that one settle down as well. And then we had IBIT looking long at 56. Again, was not looking at this straight off the open because obviously we had bigger. I cannot believe that we didn't get roasted, but again, we'd lost on NVIDIA, and then we just put up 5 times what we made on that loss just by getting right back in and having the balls to do that. But right here, 57.60, again, a level for Bitcoin. Like maybe if this market wants to keep doing what it's doing, it's nicely up, man. Maybe Bitcoin does find that bottom, and it could be at 57. So let's keep an eye now at VWAP and this 57 area instead of looking at 56. Maybe we start the buying there in and around 57. Nice battle back there for Apple. Also, NVIDIA tried to go backside again. So there's 50 that stopped a couple times. Like we said, although we are very, very rose-colored glasses trying to think about everything going long, we still have to respect some of the levels. So I see you're out of Apple, so we can talk about that, maybe a reload, and that's coming up soon. And there's our Apple trade right there. Bang, bang, bang. Neil, you never know if you're going to get filled unless you put the order out. And right there, we just talked about getting an order at 126.40. So we did that. We're out another piece there on NVIDIA. Okay, Adara, what's up?
I'm seeing here that JG is halted. That is that Aurora mobile company. They are a DeepSeek related play, announcing some integration with DeepSeek, HOLO. Also running on a similar catalyst. So JG and HOLO, you are looking for DeepSeek sympathy plays. Those are the two that I'm currently aware of. Now, in terms of other stocks on the move, AT&T actually had earnings this morning. T, alongside SoFi, reported before the bell. AT&T beating across the board for their EPS and their sales, and also announcing here stronger than expected net subscriber additions on all of their segments. So T, on watch to the upside, guys. Back to you.
Oh, I'm wishing.
So, Apple.
Candidly, I bought 2 things in my personal account market on open orders. It was just the cues. I wasn't very, and I meant to say something about ARM. ARM was the other one, and that's more planned. I was buying ARM this quarter anyways. I'm like, why not today? But we're gonna get to Hollow and these halt stocks in a quick little second. Apple just bounced in a big way off 225. So we're trying to get it VWAP's all the way at 224.5.
Yeah, go out.
So I was trying to get it 50 cents above VWAP, but at this point, 2% up on Apple, and this is also a 200 period bounce. It's got local resistance pretty much right here at the 227 spot. So this is an absolute powerhouse in. And I think it makes a little bit of a safety play as well, because if everything goes down that's AI related, well, this wasn't that bad in the first place for them relative to the others. So I think this is going to be key. I still think you can pull back from this level. I'm not buying the highs here on Apple. I want to be buying the dip, and that's pretty much it. Back over to HOLO. You saw the halt on JG. Holo integrating DeepSeek into their platform. Just tagged VWAP and pulled back under. Looking to short this one to this resistance, now sitting at the 240 level here on HOLO. Let's go to Adara again.
Beyond Meat actually rallying today. BYND could not find any catalyst for this one, but I think it's worth noting because of the 51.5% short float. So massive short float I'm seeing here for BYND. No catalyst either, like I said, and about 800,000 shares traded on the day, guys. Back to you.
800,000.
All right. So it is a really nice move up here, obviously, in this market. We are getting a little bit of a pullback. The only position I've had all day was Apple. We went in and out of that one. So we went short at 226 there. We got out at 225.50, 225.40s. Then we got out once it broke higher. So we were kind of okay on that stock. But you are starting to pull back just a little bit now in Apple. And I was thinking like, hey, I should maybe look at a short for Apple. I'm going to try it right now in the 70s just to start this little starter position in Apple. Again, not not looking to hold this past the day's high, just to see if we do get a little bit of a retracement. This is simply a scalp. If we can get it back into 226, 225.50, those are probably long areas. So I think worthy of a shot back in now for Apple. Your boy is now short here, and we're going to figure out, we're going to figure out where it goes there right now for Apple. So hopefully downside. Short now 92 on Apple. We're bidding some 80s. It just fell into there. We'll see if we can take out a piece, and then after that, down into the 50s. And there it is into the 70s. There it is. Neil, we're doing it again, hopefully for a minute here, if we can get this going on Apple. Let's get back to the downside as NVIDIA right now goes upside big time right there. So nice. Oh, yeah, baby. Oh, yeah. As we go. Neil, we're on fire again right now as we just shorted Apple. And now that is nicely in the money here for us on AAPL. So boom goes the dynamite, man. We said we're having an absolutely huge start. And right now we're a little higher than where we were a couple minutes ago. So far so good here as we just watch out. That's a huge move up there for NVIDIA. Let's take responsibility and get some out right there. And let's also put our name on this trade and bang it out for you guys on Apple right there. Take some more out in the 50s as here comes Apple pulling back just a little bit, putting us green in that name, hugely green in NVIDIA. And so far so good here on the day. I hope you're enjoying it. Hit the like, hit the subscribe. We're doing it every day.
Yeah, we'll go to there a quick little segment, but we just made a trend reverse here on NVIDIA. So we pull back off 128, bounced off 125. VWAP is a little bit far away. I want to be long back into the higher low. We're waiting for it to make a higher low. You've made the higher low now on NVIDIA. So we're going to play this one in front of 125. Do the reload just above that level, which is pretty much the price that we have. Actually long 124.87. Bitcoin's holding out pretty well, and HOLO we did not get filled yet in HOLO, but that it's still holding under VWAP. I don't think the change of plan is warranted just yet. The last thing that I want to look at here before we go to Adair is Tesla is 400 level over under multiple times. 402 has turned into resistance. You're seeing a bit of a chop-up zone here on Tesla. I feel like if it can take out 402 quarters, this one should absolutely rocket. It's doing better than the NASDAQ and still has a little bit of that gap to fill into 405 for TSLA. Are we ready for Adair? Let's go to Adair.
Couple things moving here. Keep an eye on HWH. This is a penny stock. Apparently on Friday evening, they announced that they regain NASDAQ compliance, clearly not with regards to the $1 listing rule, but with another rule that has to do here with the amount of net income and the equity for shareholders. So HWH here does have a 20.5% short float. Keep an eye on this one if you're looking for penny stocks. Also PFE on watch here. I'm just seeing CNBC reporting that the company will now no longer face a proxy fight from Starboard. So PFE potentially cleared here of a proxy fight as reported by CNBC, guys.
All right. Yeah, good job there. All right. So thanks, Adair, for all that. And as I said, man, there's more markets than just tech markets, and we're going to look at them all for you as they start popping. So again, out of Apple there, but we still have a piece on. If it breaks the high, then we are out, and it will put us right back to where we were and basically flatten out this trade one more time so that we're not making any money right now on Apple. But, you know, I know Neil talks about this a lot, and I try to talk about it a lot. And it's just like, you look down and you say, okay, like what stock are we down on? Like I'm up literally 15x right now on NVIDIA, what I'm down on Apple, right? I mean, this is kind of the stuff that like we're trying to do. And it's trying to be into the right names at the right time with the right amount of shares. And that's really been such a huge game changer and again, sticking with the names that mean something to you. I said it earlier on today, like this is why I just came in and I didn't even really look too into anything. I just was like, okay, NVIDIA, I know that's going to be a stock that I'm looking at, and it has to be on the radar regardless of what percent it's up or down. We just got to find levels and we got to pick them because we've been nailing NVIDIA and Tesla and many of these big cap tech names just with what we've been doing. So despite the news and despite all this FUD and everything like that, there's, you know, you're going to have to go with some of the levels that you believe in. And here it goes, man. We did it with NVIDIA and we put on the shares to make it something. So it's a good trade today. We've only been in Apple and NVIDIA. I do want to get into some more. You mentioned buying some ARM this morning. Again, we talked about Oracle. You know, there's been some good battle back names here, including ARM's at 150. I mean, we like that. I liked it at 160 the other day on that strength of Stargate. And then right here as well, Oracle, yeah, had that dip by opportunity into that pre-market low again, as well of 167. Now right up to 170 and change it back inside again. So yes, I don't know. We're going to get some more out of NVIDIA here at 127.50 and then just see what this recovery really looks like as we start to moon backside a little bit here in the market. So, hey, man, 2.7%, much better than 4.7% like we were earlier on. So it's a nice move upside up now. Recovery day here for the market. And those that try to spread these like, you know, this is the death of AI. Obviously right now, NVIDIA down 11%. If you believe in it, you know, there's obviously people trying to buy it, but it's not like it's surviving right now. You know, like still down 11% in what's a top stock.
Well, you also have to keep in mind, excuse me, that big green candle you'll see at the open on NVIDIA, that's in the face of, I guarantee you, a swath of market on open triggered sells from stop orders that triggered when they lost a bunch of overnight levels. So not everybody has stop orders they're going to be able to trigger in the pre-market. Everyone has different brokers, all that good stuff. So IBIT's now gone. It's through the high of the through the high of the day. Yeah. I think VWAP is always going to be a bit of a moving target, but I don't want to get married to the notion of VWAP. I've canceled the orders off VWAP on IBIT. If we're going to stair step to the upside, next available pullback. I don't want to be buying any highs here. I'd rather be looking for the dip buys. That's the plan of action. If we're able to grab it here on NVIDIA's trying to hold VWAP. It's either 125 half here, or we can hold on to VWAP. There's actually a chance that this could hold on to VWAP. We'll give it a little bit of heartbeat to try to do that. Remember, it's short sell restricted, so the bounces can be frenzied to the upside. And then Apple doesn't want to seem to pull back all that much either. You know, like it's just a bit of a moving target here. This trend is held pretty well. I think as long as it holds this upward trend, I might just pop this in and say, if you're really going to hold these dip buys and continue to go higher, break another high here, hold that trend line, might just start scalping off of this trend line here that we see on AAPL. And Holo, yeah, this is now really starting to accelerate a bit to the downside. Like the stronger NVIDIA gets, the weaker this thing seems to be on HOLO. Maybe it needs a pullback deeper on NVIDIA, and then this will pop into VWAP to get us filled. Let's go to Adara.
Keep an eye on WBA. If you recall here back in early December, there were reports that the company was in talks to be taken private by Sycamore. Now we actually have David Faber on CNBC saying that the company's Sycamore deal is, quote, mostly dead. So reports here of the end of that Sycamore deal, leading WBA to fall to the downside there, guys.
Okay. We'll have to watch out again for that Walgreens Boots Alliance SMR. I'm still trying to get into Apple short. I don't know if that's going to happen or not. I did not buy that dip there in NVIDIA, but came close to doing that in and around that 126. Okay, so we did not get that fill. I thought we just got a fill there, but we did not. Okay, there we go. Now we get the fill at 127. So there it goes, man. There it goes, in. So we're still exactly at that same spot we were when we got all excited, because NVIDIA is not really doing too much more than it already was doing. We weren't able to reload it at all. And then we've just gone in and out with Apple. So we're at the same spot we were at all day when we were saying this is going to be a record day. So again, all that action right off the first 5 minutes for me anyways. And I know you took a shot there at Tesla. Other than that, I think we've just kind of, looking at some of the same names that we've been on there all day. Uber with a real nice move back, man. Wow, Uber, yes. Really happy with that play. So again, Uber not even close to being down with the market, which is nice considering a tech name, so to speak, I guess. Nice move up there. They're going to be using some AI, I hope, and up to 68.40. Again, cheaper AI might be good for Uber, but nice move up. We're going to still have to wait to see. It's right there. This is why I just came on my alert as it hits the 200 period moving average right now for Uber, 68 and change, and looking to extend upside right now is UBER. So that could be a good break side there as well, breaking now over VWAP down to $68. Good move there for Uber. Coinbase is probably just humming along right now.
Yeah, you
back up to the upside, 286 and change. I've liked Coinbase, but again, nice bottom there.
MSTR is going.
Yeah, MSTR.
Well.
I was looking because crypto's now at 102.
Well, Bitcoin
really starting to go. $4 in the money, NVIDIA.
Bitcoin's just not moving. back to the downside. Like Bitcoin just continues to go higher. There hasn't been much of a dip here with this. But look, at the end of the day, like once it does any kind of a reversion off that top, that's what I want to work back to. I just went over and looked at what was going on with some of the Chinese ADRs because there's a flip side to this trade, right? The Alibaba, which was gapped up, is now down. They're just catching strays all over the place. And for anyone that's looking, I'm pretty sure it got mentioned by Brendan. Dada's not falling because there's an unsolicited offer to buy the stock at $2. This might actually, it's doing pretty good volume. It might be tradable. If you probably see me in and out of this off VWAP. But I'm not expecting a lot of volatility in DADA, and don't expect it to follow the other Chinese names. They could drop another 5%. This will probably hold up because it has an offer on it and going to do good volume. Let's go to Adara.
Beware of Novo Nordisk here. This one had quite the move on Friday, announcing some positive weight loss drug results. Now I'm seeing reports that court filings apparently have revealed that the company has reached a settlement with the Minnesota Attorney General regarding this dispute over insulin pricing. So previous dispute over insulin pricing apparently resolved for NVO, guys.
We're trying to resolve some decisions here about Palantir. Yeah, so I'm thinking about taking this 76 break long. You know, holding the 200 period moving average, give it $1 back down into 75. It's dipped down into here before. You have supporting cast members of the 50 period and VWAP downside there as well. A little bit of a break. I mean, there's been lots of stock that have broken through some of their highs, Palantir not being one of them. So, you know, still down percentage points. Could be a decent buy opportunity there through $76 on PLTR. The only problem there is like, where do we get out? I mean, I guess we'd have to just use the 200 period. So that's $1. So that's just it's a pretty hefty price tag to carry there, especially with the market still being down and this nice rally. What I mean by that is like we could break this 76 and then flush into that area. Okay, I'm gonna try it, but I'm gonna try to temper it with shares. So we'll take like maybe 30% or so of what we may do normally here on that spot. We did get more out of NVIDIA, but only at 127. It went to 127.50, so that could have been another play for us upside there on NVIDIA. And if it comes up to 127.50, I am going to get another piece out. But all right, so Palantir's getting ready to go through 76. I think we're going to try it.
Yeah, I mean, IBIT just broke another high there, and it seems like there's just no stopping Bitcoin as we speak. Tesla just broke. Whoops, I just typed in AAL instead of Apple. AAL is also up in case anyone cares. But Apple pulling back into VWAP potentially. So that trend that it's been holding, that just broke trend. We're looking to see if it would hold the trend line. It's now broken trend. So I think VWAP is going to stay in the purview, at least for myself. The other thing that I'm tracking is there has not been a red candle on the 3-minute for IBIT, but we just wicked the high. So this could be the pullback potentially that we've been looking for to get into Bitcoin. Whether we get to here or we can just play it off of 57.70, I think that's going to make some sense. NVIDIA just doesn't even want to get to 125. It doesn't seem. So we're looking for VWAP here on Apple, but NVIDIA at this point, you got yourself a nice wedge to the upside. I guess we have to look at the VWAP buy. We're not getting these 125s, that higher low that we wanted to play off of, but it looks like Apple's going to get to VWAP before NVIDIA gets to 125 at this point.
All right, so we did exactly what we said we would do again. So let's hit bang. When your plan comes and works, this is what's supposed to happen. So there it goes, 127.50, another out for us right there. So we'll props it up to all of us today. Big day alert here on the show. So hopefully you guys can see that and you're trading it with us. And you know, Palantir, an idea we're going to try. There it goes. Did it break? I don't know. It says 0205s. We're long now at 01s here on Palantir. And again, we'll just take a smaller position. We'll see if we get something out in the teens if it does rip up. And then, you know, so before I took this break, I actually also put a bid down here thinking that, hey, we may break and we may come back in. I wanted to not, I wanted to take the trade just in case it does start to go. So I don't know. Part of me is thinking, like, now that we're trying to run out of steam, like it didn't go, basically, right? So where could the pullback be? Yeah, I mean, I still want to see this 200 period. I just don't want to, okay, whatever. That's 75, so 74.80s. So we still want to dip by this name. So I'm still down here. I put a bid down just ahead of this 200 period. But I'm a little nervous that we're not taking out this top as aggressively as sort of we had hoped. But hey, if you're nervous about it, there it is right now. It's 10 cents, 15 cents in the money. So take it out if so be. So we will take out a little bit there for a 20-cent winner. I can't believe we were just looking at downside there as Palantir just wants upside. So nice trade there for us as we put on, Neil, just another one. So that was not too bad right there. No, Kathy, we'll take your call afterwards. We got to deal with the people right now. There it comes, nice move upside into 21s and 30s now for PLTR. So far so good. Smooth sailing upside. 76.20s was where we just stopped for Palantir. Let's put an offer right here, breaking 20. See if we can get a 20-cent winner on this one. And there it is, 21s, and just start to stack it up there. So that was for you there, Adara. We just got out at 21.
Do something for me. She loves a 21. It's just a line or a number on a chart, but it's always more sweet when it does hit for you. Just one more look for you here. Holo. If it gets to VWAP, bit of a change of plan of action. I'm willing to short VWAP, like I said before, but you have a nice trend from the high. If it fails 210, then I want to look to short it right in here at the $2 level. So let's see this bar. It's trying to close, mean reverting. If it mean reverts, I wait for VWAP. If it doesn't mean revert, I look for the short right here and give it to about that 215 zone. Apple is still tracking into VWAP. It just bounced off 225.5. Looking for that rounded top. We are getting new home sales in a few seconds.
Ooh.
Not that I expect that to move the market regards to the names that we are watching, but happening now in numbers as we speak.
Really eventful morning for the markets here. We're going to kick off with these new home sales numbers in a couple seconds. We are expecting here 675,000 homes, actually higher than expected. I'm seeing 698,000 homes for the month of December versus 675,000 expected. Again, that is new home sales. As expected here, with it being higher than expected, the new home sales change on a monthly basis is also higher than expected. 3.6% versus 2% expected. It has been quite the day here for the markets, which are continuing to try to make this upward trajectory after falling pretty viciously, gapping down here on some concerns about DeepSeek, which is these Chinese AI startup, and how it might be able to overpower some of these American companies. NVIDIA gapped out on this, Palantir, a lot of these other AI-related tickers. But if you ignore DeepSeek for just a second, one of the biggest themes of this week is going to be, without a doubt, earnings season. 4 of the 7 Mag 7 names are going to be reporting this week. We had some pre-market earnings as well worth discussing. So SoFi on watch here. SoFi gapping down, but trying to get a little bit of a bounce here. They did beat here for EPS and sales for Q4, but they did have a little bit weaker than expected EPS guidance for the quarter and for the fiscal year. Then we also had here AT&T. T, unlike SoFi, actually gapping up and doing quite nicely, though it's lost that $24 level a little bit, beating on EPS, beating on sales, and actually saying that their net additions for subscribers were much higher than expected. So earnings continue to be the name of the game here. If you are enjoying all this wild market action and this coverage, make sure to like and subscribe and join us every day. Thank you.
Thank you very much there, Dara. Appreciate you. So it looks like SoFi's not doing a heck of a lot. Holo just came back in. It is testing, but Apple lost VWAP, so we took one swing. There is the bounce off VWAP on the 3-minute. I took it when it got back through the prior bar high, but once we lost 225, I'll jump out of it. Want to be able to preserve, and if we lose this, I think you do have to wait. Like, it's a hefty gap on Apple off the open. So you're going to have a lot of room to the downside, so you have any liquidity levels. This was a lack of liquidity when it got through the pre-market high. Like, it just blasted to the upside, and you always have to be concerned. If it does lose 25, you could see 23, 22. We don't want to carry one long into what I think should be a secondary play. But I don't mind getting back in at VWAP if we can reclaim it. That's the other side of this coin. As long as we can hold VWAP, I might just jump right back into it. It's Holo that I want to try to play into still, as it broke the trend, but still consolidating under the 210 level. So this is the key bar. If we close this bar without breaking 210, then I'm just looking for the short in Holo, essentially right to here. We did have to pay for locates on HOLO. And NVIDIA, still nothing really changed on NVIDIA. It's holding the same trend line and holding VWAP as we looked at before.
So not much changed. What's up, Max? Yeah, I mean, I don't know if Max is pumping some Palantir shares into that Lambo or not, but there it is, man, 76.50, another one, 40 cents right there. We just took. We were waiting at 76.40. We got it. It's right there. It's 40 cents in the money. And we actually even discussed this trade with all of you. Now, the problem with me is, I mean, again, it's not a problem. we've got 99 of them today trading. Like I told you, this is the best day for me all month so far, off the open. So it's just like this name popped up there, and then we were sort of uncertain about it because of going long into some of these plays today and what that's meant for the market. I mean, it's been a long day, but you could see right here, just with NVIDIA as a good example. I'm going to talk about Palantir because I want to get, you know, I'm going to get another piece out here at 20 right there. Okay, we got another piece. It's just trying to get out now as the market was down 4%. We can go back down. It's not, you know, we have earnings, big earnings coming through. I mean, I think you get some overextension. Like, look, like we just got, okay, here we go. Now we're longer in into NVIDIA right there off of VWAP. So let's see if we get something out now into the 40s as we just dip bought there on NVIDIA. The price that we had just gotten there were 20s. So out in 20s, out some 40s and some 50s there, as I was just talking about trying to get a little bit lighter maybe in these names, and it drips right into VWAP. We're getting out if this breaks 125, so, or sorry, 126. So here it comes right back into it. We'll give it a little bit of room past that, but NVIDIA falling like a rock right now into those levels, which means to me, let's get some more out of Palantir, which we just did, and let's see here if NVIDIA does hold. Right now, it's not looking like it. We're still up on the name. Obviously, we're not going to be giving too much back there, but there it goes. It does flush back. We give back 3% of what we made on NVIDIA on that play right there, out right there on NVIDIA as it does break through 126. And then just because we're getting a little nervous, like if we lose NVIDIA, right, what does that mean for some of these other names? I'm good. There we go. Getting some more out here on Palantir, canceling everything, looking to get out if Palantir breaks like too much where we're in right now, 76 and change. We can always just regroup and then just say maybe we had seen a top. All right, one more piece out of NVIDIA, out of Palantir here at 20s, and then we'll work from there. But boom goes the dynamite, man. We're able to talk through that, get out of some of these positions, and really just ease back a little bit. Keep Palantir well in the frame. We only now have 10% left, though. Oh, sorry, 15% left of Palantir. Nothing taken out below where we've gotten in. So far, so good. Those outs were like 15s, 12s, things like that. NVIDIA, though, look at that. Sometimes it's where you get out that winds up saving you. And so far, so good on NVIDIA. We talked our way out of this one. So that, to me, man, that's the thumbs up there. I actually feel better about my outs than I would do about my ins.
And that's what it's all about, for sure. And look, I'm looking at 125. I've moved my stop on NVIDIA. If we lose that by 10 cents-ish, I don't like those even dollars, then we're going to be able to get out of that one. But a holo was the next play for me. Wanted to see it close, breaking trend, but not breaking 210. It didn't. So went short 205, inside the range to 190, and then we're looking for a pullback to the level that it held in the pre-market where we broke out from. That's like $1.75 into $1.80 here on HOLO. The stop is right above that local high here on HOLO as it tries to come back into the downside. But if we are ready, then if you're a skilled trader but lacking capital, then prop firms offer you the opportunity to trade with simulated funds, allowing you to showcase your skills, access account sizes ranging from $5K to $500K and start with as little as $20. And that's what Prop Firm Match brings to you. Because with over 500 prop firms out there, the question is, how do you find out which are going to be the best? That's where Prop Firm Match steps right in to fill the void. Prop Firm Match is your go-to platform for finding and comparing only the most esteemed firms with proven track records and consistent long-term payment histories. And discover the best current deals all in one place. Scan the QR code or visit propfirmmatch.com today and find the perfect prop firm for you. You can also check the link in the description. Hey, those payouts matter, man, because if you can't actually get the money out, then it doesn't matter what you make on the way into the upside.
Ain't that the truth?
Truth is the truth there when it comes to that one. So here comes NVDA. We've got our scalp trade. I held on the last 10% to see if we can hold the line at 125 on NVIDIA. Right now, it looks like it wants to give it up. To be honest, I'm a little surprised that this is pulling back, and I would have thought that would send holo in the other direction because they were a little bit inverse, but for now, that seems to still be falling despite the fact that NVIDIA is coming with it. I just did a Freudian slip there because I said if the market turned weakness, I was never looking to short NVIDIA, was actually looking at AMD, and AMD's holding VWAP. So all of a sudden, AMD showing some signs of strength. But what I like about this, and why I'm still looking for the short, is 118 has a brick wall on it on advanced micro devices. So that gives an obvious level that if we cannot bust this out in the next little bit here, you can get like a tight stop shorting the 118 level on advanced micro devices. It's not that bad of a day for them, 4.5% compared to NVIDIA. But if you can't break the high, it's kind of hard to fly. Let's go with Adair.
Really great name for these heavily shorted names here, definitely on watch. Krispy Kreme, DNUT. This one getting an upside push. Worth noting, not a ton of volume, about 500,000 shares on the day so far, but regardless, they have about a 23% short float, and they did announce apparently this morning their Valentine's Day collection. So DNUT apparently on investors' minds today. Then we also have BYND, as mentioned earlier. Beyond Meat, this one actually getting some decent volume now, pulling back a little bit, but it is still worth noting this one to the upside with a 51.5% short float. So very notable short float. A lot of these tickers seem to be making upside moves today, guys.
Yeah, we're starting to give back.
Squeeze type day.
Palantir just went like really ham there, upside, without even really that much volume, and then a quick little fall back in right into this level one more time. So I'm going to try we just missed it. Okay. Well, we tried to pick up something there on Palantir at the bottom. I'm going to give it to that bottom wick because to see what's going on there. So if we do get some more shares, we'll take that on NVIDIA, on Palantir, and then put our stop at 75, 79 or so to make sure that we're able to get out of that for NVIDIA, or sorry, for Palantir. So far so good on that one. We'll just wait to see if it does trigger back. I do want to get back into NVIDIA. So we took a small piece there on, and we've done this before, back in for NVIDIA. So there's the break back long at 125. So I'm just trying to hold this against that past bottom of one. We talked about 124.50 in the past. So now let's see if we can give it a little bit of room off some of these lows into 124.48. So we'll just put our stop in there to flat. Oops, I put the wrong price there to get flat on NVIDIA. So we got to buy this right back. But that's what I want to do right now for NVIDIA. Put out our stop order of 124.50 to get out if it does break. So that's going to be my stop. One last try here as it's starting to bleed back down. You can't just keep taking shots. Like, we only took one shot right here, but can't just keep on going back to the well. If we continue to break on this one, then we got to get out of Dodge here. So it's NVIDIA right now down into that 124.50 spot.
I always wonder where that saying came from.
Yeah.
Get out of Dodge. Like, I know Dodge is whatever.
Department of Government Efficiencies. You got to get out of there.
Someone in the chat is going to let me know what that is before you could probably ask DeepSeek or something, I guess, if you're really into that.
Ask ChatGPT, bro.
It's ChatGPT. Just very quickly, SoFi it hasn't done a lot. And I know I wanted to short this thing at 16.5 to 16.8, but it now has an opening trend, higher low, higher low, higher low, break trend, look short. That's going to be the play here on SoFi. Let's go to Adair again.
Really fascinating movement here for NVNI. This is the NVNI Group is the name of the company. I know this is one that some people in the chat have been looking at today. Interesting now that we actually just have a halt. We're actually at a triple top here for NVNI. No new catalyst for this one, but it did rally on Friday after basically announcing that it's regained NASDAQ compliance with regards to its minimum bid price listing. So keep an eye here in NVNI. This is an ADR. The company is based in Brazil, and they've rallied in the past as well here, guys. Again, halted with a triple top.
Thank you so much, Adair, man. Let's just props it up, man. Where are the traders at right there? Look at that reload there on Palantir. I hope you guys took some of that down into 76. We talked about like it went up there. We even looked at the volume. You know, we felt like a little smart looking at the volume there, and we didn't see much happening. So nice little pull down there on Palantir, able to reload it. And then, guys, like all these outs, 25s, 35s, 45s, 40s, like this is the risk to reward kind of ratio that you're looking for as a trader, obviously. And then there you go here. There goes NVIDIA blasting to the upside. So we do buy the dips. We did talk about that. So now you got to reap the rewards of your decisions, right? You can't just sit there and hope that something happens. You got to make something happen in this world. And there it goes, Palantir right now. So let's go, man. Believe in your stocks as Palantir back up to the upside, NVIDIA back up to the upside. Today we've traded Apple flat, Palantir up nice, NVIDIA the rainmaker. So so far so good here today on NVDA, Palantir, and on Apple. Really, I mean, it's just been a fun day to trade. And here we go, man. What's easier to stop? The Bills on fourth down, the Commanders hype, fly Eagles fly. I've already bet the Eagles, so Eagles are +2. I'm going to find out. The Super Bowl is not for 2 weeks, right? I mean, Jalen Hurts going to get healthy. I think that they're going to mow over, I think anyways, the Kansas City Chiefs. But we'll wait to see. All right, so NVIDIA does pull back down in there a little bit. Remember where we're getting out? Like that was 25 cents worth of risk, right? We're going to get out roughly about 30 cents worth if it breaks through 50s. So I'm going to get another piece out right now in the 90s if we're able to, or in the low 70s. Sorry. High 80s, now low 90s into NVIDIA. Get another piece out here as we just sit back, there it is, and watch, hopefully, this market settle down at some point. I mean, this is the volatility.
I don't know
that
that you want it to settle down. I think in some sense, you'd like it to settle down for your long term, but then these are opportunities to buy in your long term. So, obviously, I don't have much to say to that super chat that I can even. What am I supposed to say? They were easy to stop on fourth down. It's just factually correct. And Darwin, I too am sorry about Dalton Kincaid. You got to be able to catch the ball. But quick little look, trend in, trend out is a bit of a, like that's the way I like to work things. So when you're trying to break the trend out on Holo, now since VWAP, if we break trend, it only got down to about 185. And if we cannot hold on to this trend, then we're going to get out at that $2 level. SoFi just broke its trend line underneath the $16 level. So looking for it to play back into these lows. Keep in mind, SoFi is short sell restricted. So that's the reality. Like any bounce, like if I see on the tape like that whole offer stacks up because people are chasing it down and they can't hit the bid and it releases, whenever that happens, you look to take some profit out because it's an SSR name. But I want to play it into this 1560 bottom, which if I zoom in, here, that's a little easier to see now. This 15.6 bottom. So you got support here into 75 and then again into 1560 to 1565 here on SoFi. It wasn't that bad of a report, but it's not exactly screaming back through the upside yet.
I'm still trying to watch out for SoFi here. I'm still trying to watch out for NVIDIA. Let's just look at something else. You mentioned ASML. I mean, obviously this is going to be a much bigger name to the spreads and all that kind of stuff, but this also got into a real nice level there today to possibly buy something in ASML. I also wanted to look, again, I'm trying to think about like names that have maybe already reported that could be strong names that we like. I mean, I look at a stock like Netflix, and then I just come over here and it's barcoded. If you scan this barcode, I think you get 1 free month of Netflix right there. But 976 upside for NVIDIA, for Netflix, as it looks like it wants to break a little bit higher up right now on NFLX. So that could be a breaking spot as well, 976 to the long side. If this market can settle, which I think it's doing a little bit, settling at the 50-period moving average right there. Okay, so there goes NVIDIA, finally breaks down below. So we will give back that last try at 124.50 as NVIDIA is starting to bleed in pretty decently right now back down to that downside. So the market's trying to give it up. I wanted to look at Apple if the market, No, that hurts right there because I was just gonna say, I want to look at Apple in case we go down, but we tried the short right here and we just missed the short by maybe 50 cents there on Apple as it really fell off coming back in. So nice little drip now in NVIDIA and in the market as a whole. But we are pretty lucky because this is holding up as well. So let's just play against this. Offer out now at 41s. On Palantir, did we not get that? All right, punch a little bit lower there. Get some 34s out now on Palantir. Wait for 41. Maybe we get that, maybe we don't. But the market is trying to give back just a little bit now. So, all right, that's what's happening. We're still having a big day, but we did give some back there on NVIDIA. We'll give back about 15% trying to chase this long, so that kind of sucks. Right back into days low where we went ham last time. Things are changing now, though, man. The market is definitely trending to the downside as opposed to what we were doing early. So here comes NVIDIA right back to 124.
Wow, already just 124. So I did trail out of HOLO at $2, Holo at $2. It kind of broke the trend since VWAP. And the original plan wasn't to short it off the 210 level, it was actually to wait for VWAP. So more of a scalp trade in here. And then if it gets to VWAP, we'll try it again. As NVIDIA just took out that low, AMD broke trend as well. So this is kind of, throw that in there. It broke trend all the way here at 117.25 and now working underneath 117. I'm looking to pick it up and then give it back into that quarter. When I say pick it up, I mean pick up the short and give it back into that quarter. I'm not going long on AMD. That was never really much of the plan. Tesla is down underneath the $400 level as well. SoFi, which we're still in, scalping into the low of the day. Not much has changed there. You're still holding underneath VWAP. So this is very similar to the play that I'd like to make there on AMD if we're able to grab that one to the south side. And while the market is attempting to pull back in here, well, it only took until 10:20, but Bitcoin's back to VWAP. And that's for the first time since right away at the open. So we'll look for a rounded bottom maybe here on BTC as we're chilling at 101 right now on Bitcoin. Like 100,000 would be like 56.8 or something along, like 56.8, 56.9. But if we can hold on to VWAP in this 101, that's where I'd look for a first bounce on Bitcoin as we speak. So whether we get that AMD, I'm sitting on the offer in front of VWAP, but looking for the rounded bottom on Bitcoin. I just had to wait for it. Like I wasn't really willing to chase it up here. All we got to do is some kind of a curl, maybe even a mean reversion, and break the trend in front of VWAP on IBIT. Let's go to Adara because that's the only way we're going to get into some of these small caps with the small cap recap. Well, I guess SoFi is one.
SoFi.
And there are some pretty interesting small caps to talk about today. IWM we'll take a look at because this is really fascinating. We have this gap down, of course, with the whole market. But look where we bounce. We basically bounce here off the lows on the 23rd, so Thursday. Great look here on the 226 halves level. Then we get to 229.60s, Friday's resistance, before selling back off. So IWM here, some of these technical levels are certainly, looks like they're going to be coming into play today. So that is the Russell 2000. But what about these small caps? We have quite a few worth talking about, so we'll discuss all of them here. NVNI, this is quite a topping tail candle, but basically this one initially ran on Friday, gap down today, then tried to make a bit of a comeback, basically running on Friday after announcing that it regained NASDAQ compliance in terms of its minimum bid listing price requirement. Then we have JG. This ticker may be familiar with you. You might have heard it earlier today because JG, or Aurora Mobile, is actually a, I guess, sympathy play with DeepSeek, announcing here alongside HOLO, Microcrowd Hologram. Both of these companies here announced that they did have DeepSeek integration. So keep an eye on some of these small caps that are DeepSeek related. Two others to mention here. One of them is ETNB. The company's name is 89 Bio. I couldn't find any catalyst for 89 Bio, but it's near day's highs, and it's worth noting they do have about an 11.5% short float. One other heavily shorted name today, Asana. ASAN, not really a small cap, about a $3 billion market cap, but worth noting because we have this nice push up. We're up about 12%, zero catalyst, and a 14% short float for ASAN, guys. Back to you.
Oh, no.
That's kind of squeezing a little bit on Asana. Always a good look when you see something like that. Okay, here comes our VWAP play in IBIT. I mean, that's Bitcoin, obviously. 57.5 just managed to hold. So there was some support here at 57, like the mid 30s, like that third level, and we just bounced off it one more time here on Bitcoin. That's about 101, everybody. So if you're trading spot Bitcoin prices, that's where you got to look off of. So we're into IBIT for the first time here today. Tesla, come on, hold that 400 level. That'd be absolutely nice if you could. But Tesla's still battling. Yeah, it's going to be IBIT off of VWAP here, looking pretty solid. We're going to get some out on the way to the highs. Respect what the market is trying to do here, which is bounce off of, I'm just going to go to the NASDAQ here because we follow the NASDAQ, which is bounce off of where we broke out from, actually well in front of it. So if we don't get back underneath 21.2 on the NASDAQ, then I think you're looking pretty good for some bounce plays to the long side. Although SoFi, I know I'm short SoFi, but SoFi had earnings today. I don't necessarily think it has to follow the market. It's just going to do its own thing. Since the trend revert, this is the first time I got the bid here in front of 15. I'm short at 99s. I just got the first bid here at 91. And I have bids in front of 85. And then down here at like 78 all the way down to 15.6.
All right, yeah. I liked SoFi at 15. I actually missed that trade. I'll have to go back over and see if we like the long, if it breaks a little bit longer.
Oh, I didn't get that close.
Yeah, no. Okay, so yeah, that's the problem. All right, so right into here, just again, we rebought off 23 right there. We watched it. It did wind up holding. So I did buy some back here into the 30s, and it just ripped up, man. We got 60s, 70s, 80s. So we went 1-to-1. Obviously, if we wind up losing on this one, then it'll, again, pretty good. Like, we got 38, so we'll lose a little bit on this if it does wind up going to the downside. But at the end of the day, I think it's worth it. We've been scalping out a little bit here. So much volume, man. 210 million shares right now on NVIDIA. What's up, Adara?
DOCN. This company is called DigitalOcean. They have about a 9% short float. Basically, this one also trading higher. It looks like generally we did have this pop on Friday with a $45 price target and a buy rating from Citigroup. However, it looks like this could be another DeepSeek sympathy play. Basically, apparently the CEO around 15 minutes ago on X, I'm seeing, posted that you could run the DeepSeek R1 model on the company's GPUs here, DigitalOcean. So looks like DigitalOcean apparently announcing this DeepSeek integration, though again, I'm not seeing any formal announcement of this on Benzinga, only what the company's CEO posted on X, guys, DOCN.
Well, I mean, I'm getting out of more NVIDIA here because obviously that's going to be not the great sign, but it's just only 20 cents in the money. So I'm going to now hold. I have half left on this trade. See if we can moon out a little bit. I'm in the 80s and then the 90s here on NVIDIA. But when those stories start to catch wind that, you know, people have been trying out DeepSeek and it's actually just as good as the others, if that is the case, then it is going to be all she wrote for these names. So for now anyways, until they run some more tests and somebody can debunk that. But for right now, a nice upside move here, you know, off of 123. But other than that, it is getting killed. Down 14% soon here on NVDA. We say buy good names. Well, I mean, this is a good name, but is it time to buy? I guess we will eventually find out. But right now, it looks like you are getting some, you know, weaker hands letting it go. And I think it might be a good call. It's like sort of like, shoot first, ask questions later. And I think that's what you had a huge move back up where people were like, nah, we don't believe it. And then it was like, oh, yeah, well, you know, we'll take that little bump up, I guess, and see it and bring it right back in.
The market's very Kobe.
To the Bryant.
I'm saying, like, the market's very Kobe Bryant today. It's more Kobe Bryant than LeBron James. Shoot first, ask later is an apt analogy. And again,
I'm gonna get some out.
And that's not a dig on Kobe Bryant, by the way. That's it's just how he rolled. Like, he would take over the game by taking,
oh boy,
you know, by taking shots. I'm gonna get to IBIT in a second, but we'll go to what came out and not what's going well, which is going to be IBIT. But you just broke back above prior resistance on SoFi. It only got to our first profit take, so we'll be red on that SoFi play, but it's still holding on to VWAP. We just like the trend break on this. It never really got to our, like, the real level we like, which is up at the 16.5. So we had to take the trend break trade. IBIT bouncing off VWAP as we speak, looking to play it back into its prior highs. Pre-market up here at this 57.8. We just got to 101.5 and then pull back a little bit. But nice little bounce play off VWAP. The NASDAQ bouncing, Bitcoin bouncing. Pretty much everything looking good for sure. Meta is green. TT777. Wow. Meta is on an absolute tear. Did not notice this. We liked Apple today, obviously NVIDIA, and then Bitcoin and SoFi. Holo was just a reaction because the stock had something related to DeepSeek. But wow, Meta almost green on the session. Not green yet, but it is going to go green. This is why you buy dips in companies that you like. I mean, there's other reasons too, but this is part of it.
Okay. Breathe. All right, here you go. Maybe do one of these if you have one in your pocket. Like, this has been a quite the day as we're getting ready to go again. We actually didn't hit this earlier. We had $5 or $4 on NVIDIA earlier. But this is even a better trade because now we're long off 123s. And here we go. Nice move up. There's the Dollar Club, Neil. Yes, sir. And now we are higher than we were when we had our heart attack earlier on. So there it goes, man. Nice day. It's 10:30 now. Not often am I at the same levels at 10:30 that I'm at like 9:40 recently. We've been making some big plays with some decent sized shares early. But here we go, man. We make it all back and we're at the highest spot now we've been at on not only just on NVIDIA, but obviously as our trading goes here today. And that is despite us. We'll be green on the name, but it's another fail, actually. Quite DJ. Right there. So it goes in and out at 76. Now it just bounces right back up. Bounces off 75.50. But again, I do feel like sometimes getting out of positions is the saving grace that I need. Because then I'm not layering into this until we get to extreme levels where I wind up punching out. I mean, I think there's no better of an example today than on NVIDIA, where we started to feel some ways up here. We talked about it. We started getting out. Remember when we got hit there? I'm like, okay, we just got hit at 127.50. Like, that's a great fill. And then we started to dump out once we started giving it up. Able to get out there at 126 break, which allowed us to really just to reload it and put them all on all over again downside now. So we'll take some more out there at 124 and getting less and less. Remember, our stop, I told you, we break 123, we're gone. So our average price was 24s. So now we're in at 16s. So again, 25 cents worth of a hit to grab 75 right now. So it's a 3-to-1, and we still do have a nice move back. I still do like Palantir, everybody in the chat, but at the same time, there's only so much I can do. I mean, right now, NVIDIA has really been the belle of the ball here. We'll go flat on Apple, flat on Palantir, and up my whole day on NVIDIA. So that's what it is. But we've only traded 3 names. I feel like it's kind of the way it's supposed to be. Amazon running up. Me and Neil, I mean, I sort of talked about that earlier, and I think Google was down, right? Yeah, so now
you could have bought anything, really.
Yeah, I know, but it was just more the fact that, like, I think the safe names were the ones that were maybe breaking out, like, Thursday, Friday of last week.
Yeah.
You know, and that maybe we're just catching shrapnel. And Google, although it's Quantum, and Quantum got hit today, it was more Amazon was the name that I was talking about earlier. Remember, I even used that example. I said, you couldn't get long at 220 down there. So when you're going to look at the chart, you're going to think that that was maybe a price, but you couldn't have really gotten long down there. There it goes up to 235. And now it looks like we're going to try to take out all-time highs again right now on AMZN. So Amazon right now, it's all-time high, 236.40. So now you're a stone's throw away from that. So, you know, those of us that were like, womp womp, NASDAQ's getting killed, we're dead in the water. It doesn't appear to be that way at all. As many big names.
Meta all-time high like in Meta. 5, 4. Okay, that's if I count it down, it's not going to break an all-time high. So that's the problem. 650 here on Meta. It is now solidly green. You can't look. It is what it is. Like you can't buy everything, but I feel like that was a missed opportunity there on Meta. I don't know. Like in absolute and utter hindsight, it's like why didn't I? Look, I said in my personal account. I just put an order to go long the Qs, and then I was planning on buying ARM this quarter, so I just did that as well. But Meta was probably a bit of a miss, and so we got our last out in front of 58. If we get VWAP again, then I have to respect that it's lower highs here. Let it make a bottoming tail candle, and then take the trade in off of the bounce. But why I'm a little bit upset with myself over Meta is had I pulled up this chart this morning, maybe I would have realized, look at the bounce in Meta. Compared to everything else that we see, look at that bounce already in Meta. By the time we got to when we came live to you guys at 8:30, it had already bounced $30 off of this bottom. So this was, admittedly, I didn't look at this chart this morning. That's a missed opportunity because it was showing you a lot of strength. And then some good dip buys here off the open. There's a trend break, which I'm a huge fan of. There's a trend break. And then right off of those lows, you could have been long in here, giving it to these prior bar highs and trying to work at higher lows all the way through. So you probably could have dip on anything, but Meta really stands out. Let's go to the desk. It is time for crypto.
Much like the rest of the market, what we had with crypto here was a move lower, and now a bit of a bounce. We have Bitcoin here around that 101 halves area. Take a look at Ethereum, which was at its lowest here, touching 3,000 as of right now. We are at that 3130 area, so definitely a bit of a recovery here for ETH and BTC. In terms of the reasons for the sell-off, I'm seeing a couple different catalysts. Of course, we did have this overall market drop, which I'm seeing, of course, would lead people to be a little bit risk-off with crypto, given the concerns about DeepSeek and also the fact that we do have the Fed meeting on Wednesday. But the other thing I'm seeing is that some people feel that what we had basically with the crypto executive order was actually priced in by the market. So it wasn't too shocking that Trump signed the order. We had the pop-up when the order was signed and then the drop. So people are saying basically this was priced in. That's why we're not having that crazy bullish reaction in Bitcoin, which is also a little bit double top-ish right now around that area just above 108. We do have Bitcoin down about 3% still. Ethereum down about 5%. XRP, which was last week's big star, down about 5%. Additionally here, most of these names down at least 2-3%. So pretty sharp sell-off in crypto, mirroring what we're seeing in the market despite attempts to bounce, guys.
Yes, sir. And look, I just saw in the chat, like as we were talking about Meta, I saw a bunch of people saying, if you think Meta's bounce was good, why won't you look at Snowflake? Yeah, that is distinctly different here on Snow. And since 170, I like that one for sure. There's no specific news on Snow. Look, when you get a relief rally like this, sometimes there's no deep explanation as to why one goes more than the other. I look at that 50 period, I'm just sort of smiling. Snowflake looking very, very good. But it's not, look, I mean, Palantir's on the NASDAQ now, of course. I'm going to do that, and then I'll have to wait for it to, but it's not like it's alone here. Like how many charts are going to look pretty much exactly the same? You've got what are you doing for me lately, I think that matters now. Like if you're holding higher lows, if you're on trend and above VWAP, great. I just think you want to be a little bit more cautious with anything. Like anything that failed under VWAP is I'm not as much of a fan of. That's why I haven't gone back over to NVIDIA. Like I look over here at Palantir, which is doing a pretty good job of holding the high end of the range. And then I come back over to NVIDIA, which is still sort of holding the bottom end and putting in some lower highs. I want this to round out the bottom and then start to core a little bit better. But yeah, Snowflake, Palantir, both of them doing great. Good point out in the chat. There's no way you're going to be long everything. I just happen to like Apple and NVIDIA this morning. Let's go back to Adara.
I've noticed a bit of a pattern here. Now, there are a lot of names bouncing, but specifically, these names in the cybersecurity space are actually really strong. Snowflake, we talked about having that bounce, but PanW, Palo Alto Networks, also up here about 2%. Then we have CrowdStrike, also up about 1%. So these cybersecurity tickers actually having quite a sector-wide bounce. I could not find any catalyst. The one thing with Snowflake is apparently they announced they're going to be appearing at a plethora of investor events coming up. They also announced their earnings date, but nothing super significant to explain this cybersecurity bounce, guys.
We are like just absolutely rocking right now. Shout out to everybody back there. I see Obi's also trading NVIDIA, so we go bang, bang, bang to real traders as we unite right now with NVIDIA. Again, 230 million shares. Look where it came down to. It came right into buy zone of 123. I mean, we talked about it before, and Neil was like, if it gets to 121, so it's kind of like, yeah, we got pretty low there on NVIDIA. Not to think that it's going to bounce back over and over and over again. It's amazing that NVIDIA can be down 13% today, and it is number one stock, like not even close. I haven't shorted anything today. Well, I did short Apple actually, which didn't work out, oh my gosh. Okay, Daryl and everybody else right now. Look at the NASDAQ. I just explained it to our lawyer, what was going on out here. And he's like, okay. But there it goes, a nice move to the upside. He was asking about DeepSeek, but there it goes, nice move now up to the upside as the NASDAQ is given. NASDAQ was down almost 5% when I woke up. So, and overnight, last night, I was watching it. I was on Twitter. I was seeing some of the news, some of the looks at some of the names that were out there. Obviously, other names like NVIDIA continue to be real bad, but look what Apple's doing today ahead of earnings. Like, come on, man. I mean, there it goes straight up to the upside. You guys, like everybody, pull the wool over our eyes all the damn time on Apple, and it's just like we just keep believing it. My phone is going off. Oh, it's in my butt. Not in my, sorry, in my back pocket there. You don't want to put your phone in there. I don't know. Hopefully that wouldn't fit too well. Oh, my order from Costco has shipped. Oh, that's good. I got Greens Energy. So every morning I have like a Greens, like an AG1, like a little supplement there. I mean, you got to have some energy to host this show. That is for sure. But there it comes right now, 124.40. Yeah, I have. The thing is, I just got another refill here, but I always let it go down, and then there's nothing. And so I don't even have my first coffee until like 8. When I get
you actually should.
8:25. Wow,
you shouldn't. That's actually there's a thing about
not to have it too early.
At least 60 minutes to 90 minutes after you wake up, and then you won't have that same like morning or that late morning crash or the afternoon crash.
Okay.
Or at least so I've read. I adhere to that
I
myself,
get no crashes,
but so I'm down with that. Just very quickly, we just double tapped the same resistance.
It does have
here on IBIT.
Probiotics in it.
Probiotics.
Yeah, it has everything, man. This is like a greens thing. It's really.
It's interesting.
Anyways, go ahead.
No, just sort of saying we just double tapped the same lower high here on IBIT. So if we're not, like the market's breaking highs, if we're not breaking this top, if we lose the trend, which would be underneath 57, like 70 currently, then I'll jump out and wait for VWAP again here on IBIT. Oh, look, I am in that dad stock. Remember, I was sort of talking about this off of VWAP. They got an unsolicited offer to be bought at $2. It's not going to move that much, but I'm just sitting here in front of VWAP just to scalp it into this like 189 high. Let's go to Adara.
Out here's on the $75.
Show is brought to you by eSignal. Traders, listen up. First month, free. That's right, we're waiving fees. Trade smarter, not harder. Upgrade to Elite. Analyze, strategize, capitalize. Our platform, it's everything. Infinite data, instant trading, lightning fast market insights, game-changing charts. Predict with back testing, reliable real-time data, global markets at your fingertips, all in one platform. Don't miss out. Execute your best trades now. Ready to elevate your trading? Scan the QR code or check the link in the description. And with that, we're going to turn to this eSignal chart here. Take a look at NVIDIA because these tickers are on watch. We do have some breaking news here. I'm seeing reports here from a lot of different entities on X, so I'm not seeing any specific source for this. But apparently DeepSeek is restricting its registration to China mobile phone numbers. So this could prove to be a little bit less competition in the US. Apparently, DeepSeek restricting its registration to China mobile numbers. So it looks like they're trying to restrict themselves to China a little bit. Keep an eye on some potential bounce here in some of these AI plays, guys.
I mean, I guess, yeah, I mean, I guess an American can still get a Chinese number, but no surprise there as they try to keep the secrets to themselves. And you'll just realize that eventually DeepSeek is just ChatGPT repackaged, and then all these stocks go back up to the upside. But we might have to wait to figure that out.
And probably costing a little more than they say.
Yeah, just a little bit more. These guys are such frauds. But okay, here it is right here. So this is what I ordered right here. Genuine Health Greens Plus Extra Energy Superfood. So it does have, see, increases energy, drink mix, provides antioxidants. The only problem is the one I'm drinking now is not orange flavor. I actually just like the straight, like grass flavor, like whatever original flavor is right there. But it does have probiotics in it. Oh, helps in wound healing. So maybe, Neil, for the Bills, you could take some of this as well if you want.
Oh, that's
right there. Man. It supports liver function. Well, I don't really drink, but that would be a good idea to do that. Oh, metabolized proteins and fats. Okay, we can all use that. But okay, so that's what I got there. For those of you guys were... that's what popped in. That's what was vibrating down below there, if you guys want to know. Okay, so Palantir 75. Someone said, what about VWAP? And yeah, I mean, yes. So I missed that call there, unfortunately, down to $75. That was fantastic. Now you're up 50 cents. So great call out who that was. But again, like strong look at the NASDAQ. Let's go. Nice little move up there for... Palantir. So boom, NASDAQ going, Palantir going. There we go. Nicely done to the upside. We talked about 21,000. I mean, during the pre-market, we're like, you got to watch out for that 21,000, and bam, did that come screaming in there right at the open, and we did dip below it or slightly at it. If maybe we didn't even break it, but there it comes in there. We took it out, boom, to the upside goes the futures, and there goes everything else with it. I mean, the Apple long was a great call, obviously there. Neil had that one. The Palantir long paid for us, but didn't get going. And then NVIDIA right now, as we get lighter and lighter into all of this. So 125 and change right now, staring us in the face on NVIDIA as it doesn't want to get above the 50-period moving average. So more outs coming for me at 124.50 if we can, as NVIDIA right now still $1 in the money, but it was just $2. You got to take some out when it gets a little egregious, and I think that's what happened there. Amazon might be a short as well. I mean, we can talk about that. But
Amazon is short. Oh.
Just because it's been going up so much right now.
That is 100% true, Artemis. I did have Holo short at 205. Now, do I know that headline is going to come out that Adara just said at, what is this now, 10:40? No. So I was just sort of following the execution rules. But the second I heard that, there was a flat bottom, I guess, it's not really a flat bottom break because like it wicked this bottom in here at like $1.85, and then it just sort of tagged it again. So I heard that news. It was breaking the low, so I just sort of jumped back in. Obviously, it's not going to be at 205. It's going to be at 185. But there's still a little bit of room for this to get back to where it started on HOLO. They, for those not following, Holo with announcing that they were using DeepSeek. Right, so that's why they go from 170 to 290, and now they're at 179. So technically, if you bought it on Friday, you're still up on the session, but giving most of it back. That other one, shoot. Adara, what's the other one? The other? JG. So if you're looking at those sympathy plays, there's JG as well. So breaking, this had already a big move to the downside by the time Adara got that news to you. Filling in a bit of the gap. So if you are connected to DeepSeek and that's the reason why you're up, well, you're probably down now. And then ride those back into lows of the day. Let's go over to Adara for Sector Watch.
I always find these kind of days really interesting because despite the fact that we're down in the market, even with the bounce, there are a lot of sectors that are incredibly strong on the day, showing that it's really tech that is leading this downside push. Finance, with a couple notable exceptions, generally pretty strong. BRKB to the upside after a little bit of downside moves over the last week. Retail trade here, every name but Amazon pretty strong. We have health services looking good, communications, transportation, commercial services, consumer non-durables, and health technology. Now, in terms of downside movers that are not in the tech space, producer manufacturing really weak here. AMAT to the downside makes sense here. Some of this chip manufacturing related plays. Utilities also sharply lower, but this is also a bit tangential related to AI due to the fact that we were expecting a nice move for some of these energy names like VST and CEG as we had AI spending, as we have some of these concerns about AI now with regards to DeepSeek coming in. We do have that selling in the AI space. Though, again, not even every Make 7 name is weak. Apple is green. Meta is also green here, but Microsoft, Google, especially NVIDIA, all week today. Oracle, Broadcom, basically any name that was implicated in that Project Stargate story last week, feeling a little bit of the heat today and the pressure to the downside. And this is notable because we have earnings this week too. Microsoft, Meta, Tesla, and Apple all set to report later in the week. So keep an eye on this. The sector board is likely to change as the day goes on, but it's fascinating to see that actually quite a few of these sectors sharply green, guys.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but
I think it's
not
going to be an interesting look. Yeah.
Not green is SMR. I was looking at these nuclear names here, and they're not really. That's not good. You see the bounce. The market is recovering very well. NVIDIA is holding its lows. I mean, part of the problem probably has to do with they are the lowest hanging fruit in terms of stability, right? Like if the AI spend is, look, if it's the more efficient way to do it, you're not going to need as much power, and then all of these plays might not need investment. So they're probably the frothiest out there. But down 22%, I'm looking at SMR in particular because it's right back into almost into a huge zone where it had some support here, $20 to $21. So mean reversion is kind of set up. It's short sell restricted being down 23%. But yeah, eyeballs on this now that it's already filled in a huge gap. I like this 20 to 21 level for a support on SMR, but it's going to have to break this trend at some point. Speaking of breaking trends, I mean, not the entire day trend, but the trend from VWAP just came back underneath. So you lost this little shelf here on IBIT. It bounced off VWAP like we wanted. There's your bottoming tail candle, and then break back above prior bar low, and then into 58, then losing the trend here. So we'll see if it can hold VWAP a second time, or technically a third time, because it did it at the open. I don't really consider holding VWAP at the open meaning anything because volume comes in at the open. And then you start working to see if VWAP is going to pull back and hold. So for now, IBIT looking good, but it is still lower highs. Needs to do the same thing it did here before. Either a wick bottom or a consolidated bottom here on Bitcoin. And then we can work back into the long on that side. Not really looking for any shorts on IBIT yet. But my mind could be changed if something crazier were to happen.
I was sort of looking at the same levels there of 56-ish, but 101.3 right now for IBIT, so an interesting level there. Obviously for Bitcoin, 101.3 right now. Okay, it's 10:45, so Intel, if there's any names maybe now, because I'm not sure what I'll be doing into the close right now. So if there are any other names you guys want me to look at that maybe we haven't done the greatest job looking at, I mean, and we've been sort of obsessed with obviously big cap tech names and trading, you know, we're here. I'm here to make a little bit of money as we host the show. So I tend to look, you know, where the bread is buttered for me. And right now it's been all about tech. So, all right, Tesla. Let's have a quick look at Tesla. Look, Tesla went up, and again, another big name. Tesla does go up into the level that I like, and it's right here right now. And it's 406 and change. So right into there, it was Friday's close. So like we came here today and we kind of were like, oh man, Tesla, like what a day for Tesla as we were down so far. And I had said that the only trade that I thought we liked earlier was this pre-market break. Well, that happened right away, right off the open. So you really had to like the long to take in that. So that was pretty risky there. But if you look at what we did off the open, we did have that whoosh down in many names right here, but not Tesla. So Tesla just goes right there. There's the move up. So there's the opening candle. So it just kept going. So we had a flush in NVIDIA. We saw Apple get down into that great level. I think it was 224 or something off the open. But Tesla didn't really give it to you until about like 9:35, where again, you could have taken that same breakout level of 396. So that's looking like a really strong area. So any sort of dip buys into 397, 98, I like that for a chance there on Tesla. And then why I zoomed it out, whoa, this is just a 1 minute chart. What I'm looking for is the 5 minute, which is right here. You're just coming up into, again, 406. So I think if you're looking short, you could go short, thinking that Tesla's not going to go green. If it does go red to green, then you're going to use this 200 period right there at 409 as maybe your area to stop out of if you know, if you like the short, I think you'd have to give it at least up to there. So that's something there for Tesla. Whoops, I just closed the chart, which I did not mean to do. So that's something there for Tesla. I think a dip buy, oh, that's right where VWAP is. We didn't even realize that. So yeah, dip buy into 398.96 I think is a buy. And this is probably a name that I would buy on any weakness. So we're not going to be here during lunchtime, these boys will, but Amazon, again, another name that I think I would buy into weakness, as you're well above everything and you have some good support down there at 229. So I really do like Amazon. I'm just going to call up my other chart, and that's that. So there's a quick look on Amazon and on Tesla, two big cap tech names. And then NVIDIA, we have less than 10% left of this reload right now. It's just bouncing off the 50-period moving average. All these prices look good, man. 124.50, 124.60. I'm gonna take out one more piece right here and just work on this trade now. Hopefully, there we go. We got a piece out. Hopefully, it will continue its upside move and we'll be able to hold our last 10% for VWAP in and around 125.50. That's it. And then SoFi if it dips. But I just reminded myself, and this is complete fluke that I remembered GoEV, because I was typing in GE Verona and accidentally put in GoEV, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. This stock, any flat bottom break, I want to take. Based on this, so anyways, GoEV might be going bankrupt, and obviously did a bunch of volume on Friday, and then flat bottom broke here at 58. Well, look at 40 cents right now. So there is a wall. Let me just accept, so I can get some locates to be able to go short on GoEV. It's SSR because it's down over 10%, but doesn't matter. If it breaks 40 cents here, I'm just going to go short at 39.9 something on this particular name. So that's going to be the play here. And again, it's just it's just a continuation type play. Like every single day that it puts in lower highs, I want to be playing off of that. So it doesn't break back above 58, kind of fails its breakout. I'll look for the short through the 40-cent level. And that is right, Jaspreet Singh. OMG Meta is definitely good. But the next play for me is very likely to go to GoEV, where you're trading in the afternoon on Friday. We'll see you for a 40 break there, and let's go to the desk for Adara. Meta is a beast.
We're going to take money talks really quickly. I want to mention Rivian because that's been pretty strong on the day. Here it is up on the day. This is the daily chart. Not seeing any news on this, but about a 19% short float. We talked about this earlier today. A lot of these heavily shorted names like ASAN, DNUT, BYND have actually done quite well today. So RIVN doing nicely on the day. What about DXY here? We're going to take a look. Third straight day to the downside for the DXY, which has been basically making lower highs, lower lows. After making this top just above 110, that would be going back to Monday, January 13th. So just 2 weeks later, we are now almost 3 points removed or below that level. So lots of weakness here. Today was a pretty light day for economic data. We did have stronger than expected Dallas Fed Manufacturing Business Index, also stronger than expected new home sales. And we're going to have a couple auctions later today, the 3-month and 5-year auction coming through at 1 p.m. So definitely keep an eye on the 5-year at 1. I will be giving you guys that data should it move any markets. Then tomorrow we actually have durable goods and consumer confidence. Consumer confidence at 10 a.m. definitely on watch. But here's the biggest thing this week in terms of the economic data. It's going to be the Fed meeting, of course. 99.5% of participants expecting there will be 0 cut and 0 rate change on Wednesday. That has been the case for a while. But if you go forward to March, this would I actually find pretty interesting. So 69.6% of participants expect no rate cut. Again, a lot of people are expecting that we won't have a cut until maybe July. But then we have 30.2% of participants currently expecting that we will get a cut in March. And then the really interesting part is another 0.2% of participants think we might get a 50 basis point cut in March. This is a really small percentage, of course, infinitesimal, but it is worth noting here that we'll have to wait and see what we get at the January meeting. I was certainly not expecting any pricing in here of that 50 basis point cut. We'll wait and see what the Fed gives us, but it's interesting to see what other people are thinking heading into that decision on Wednesday. Back to you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Adara. And just
week.
We talk about VWAP a lot. There's a good discussion going on in the chat. And by the way, if you want to be in the chat, ask us questions, just sort of engage with the community there. Make sure you hit the subscribe. It's a subscribers only chat. Hit the like, hit the subscribe. We talk about a few indicators in here. VWAP, it doesn't, like I use a 3-minute chart. Sean uses a 1-minute chart. I mean, Obi uses 1-second chart sometimes. I mean, but if you're using VWAP, what matters is when your data starts. So for me, and I'm going to speak for myself, like mine starts at 6 a.m. So all that volume, like if you look at my VWAP on NVIDIA, all that volume from like 4 a.m. and all that stuff that you guys will see, that's not factored into mine. Mine starts at 6. It's not a huge difference, but it might mean when I talk about a stock getting VWAP, it might not be the exact same price as yours. So in a general sense, for the most part, most of the volume comes in at the open, so you should be absolutely fine. But yeah, if I say VWAP is at X price on IBIT, I'm buying the dip here, remember that it matters when your data gets turned on to start calculating. And mine happens to be at 6 a.m. and everyone's going to be a little bit different there. All right, what do we got going on? Man, this.
I was listening to these guys.
Every time I look up, every time I look up at Meta, I just get more and more.
No, it's at 660.
No, and it's like.
Almost.
If you really think about it, the dip buy on Meta from a risk, just from like a think about like why the stocks are down, right? Like Meta had a little bit of both. Like it had the best of both worlds. Like so much of the cash they're pulling in, kind of like Apple, who cares for the AI aspect of it. And then the other side of it was, well, it had been punished. It had been punished with a gap down, but earnings are going to matter so much, and they're just raking in the cash. So you had a lot of protection. A bit of a moat around it on this news. So it is what it is, a bit of a swing and a miss there on Meta. And look at how strong this stock is. We even like all-time highs for continuation, so this should be good. But remember, you get the big boys starting to report this week, and then we get the Fed doing absolutely nothing. So everything could change in a couple of days for them. Not that I suspect it would, but yeah, if you're buying these highs, remember you're buying into earnings. On Meta.
That's everything.
Yeah, and some people don't like buying going into earnings. I'm not one that buys in the long term generally into earnings, but days like today, if you're buying the Qs, it's like, who cares? I'm holding it forever. So Holo is still stair-stepping slowly to the downside. The thing about this is it's already given up the move. There's only so much further that this can drop. And if it breaks back here above break even, like you really fell from 185 into 175, and the stock has already given up 90% of its gap to the upside. So you can't really hold this one against you. If it catches a bid, it could catch a bid all the way to VWAP. So just going to make it maybe tighten the stop in here to break even.
All right. Yeah, thanks to everybody for joining. If you do want to see more of this content, make sure you do hit the like and the subscribe. What a call that was on our chat on Palantir down there at 75. But let's figure out what's for lunch. All right, not too bad, not too bad. Pork tenderloin, grilled teriyaki glazed and sesame crusted pork tenderloin. Teriyaki glazed and sesame crusted pork tenderloin, okay. Stir-fried Chinese vegetable with rice pilaf. So a little bit of combination coming up there. So pork loin right there. We had wings last night at the house. So, of course, we watched some football. Yeah, man, there's nothing more Canadian than football and wings. So, and a nice little beer there. As I say Canadian, and it's probably more American because...
Well, did you drink a Canadian beer at least?
I actually didn't even have beer. That was a lie. I just had wings, and that's about it. The kids.
I didn't drink anything yesterday for the game either myself.
No.
Although
the wings are that sweet Thai chili sauce. My kids are absolutely in love with that sauce.
Yeah,
so they're all over that. So the bone thing doesn't matter too much anymore. So just NVIDIA just made a move back to the 50 period, 124 flat. I think we got to get something out if it comes back up to there. We have now 7% left. Let's get into 5% or less than that if it does come back up. I actually am waiting at 123.98. I'm actually kind of surprised that we didn't get that fill there. All right, well, we just missed that fill, so that's too bad. All right, now let's wait to see if we can grab it upside. We're waiting at 87 to get out of, I guess, another 2.5%, and then that will be that for NVIDIA. We'll carry the rest into the afternoon, and could possibly try a reload down into here one more time at 123, but honestly, the shorts, the longs, it's amazing that this is probably going to be my best NVIDIA day in a long time, considering we only went long. I feel like the shorts have been a much better play, man. I'm holding off of the 200 period right here. That's your green line, and then the 50 period as well, holding off on that short. The only time you would have got excited is basically right off the open, and then all you had to do before, and we looked at Apple for this, was trade short into its past highs, which was 127.50. So that was really the better play. I feel like anyways there for NVIDIA. The short was better than the long. So Meta could be getting exhausted. I don't want to short this name, but if there was going to be a name that's pulling back at some point, 660, up 2%, new all-time highs. Its last high was 652. Like, you just crushed that level and then just made a nice move up. Now you're starting to fade out a little bit here. So, okay, here comes NVIDIA. We might not have to do anything. Our trigger is 123. So if it breaks, it breaks. We'll buy a little bit more, but not much more down here at all. We'll put back 10% more on this and hold that 15% or so of NVIDIA. And then that will be that. We're going to buy some here at 20 and then back away and take a 20-cent hit if it does fall in. There we go. We're long now at 20. And you might have just saw me got filled.
Yeah, and it only took till 11 o'clock, but AMD just lost the trend line.
Finally, yeah.
For the first time today. Well, obviously, like, it actually lost a sharp trend here, but there's the higher low at 1018, and it actually also happens to be VWAP. There's it breaking, so I'm into the short. Prior bar high, which is, I'm not going to use the wick. This needs to work right away or not at all, because it's kind of bullish on the market today, but 117.25 is going to be that prior bar high. Get rid of that wick a little bit later on. But the first time we're actually in AMD, the other name I meant to look at to see if it's set up better, but I didn't, was Intel. But yeah, so here's your trend break. First stop here is 116.40, so I'll put a 50 bid in and then see how far this one wants to come down. If NVIDIA is going to go down, you can't tell me that AMD should be holding up on a day like today. And because the two stocks that were up, well, I shouldn't say there were a bunch of stocks that were up, but the two of the stocks that were up on my quote board, one of them was Intel, and it might even go red here today. I feel like it just didn't catch as many strays because it's hard to go down if AI is a bubble if you didn't benefit from AI in the first place. So that's the reason why Intel was a little bit strong. And I do feel like even if the market falls all over itself, this has reasons to catch a bid that have nothing to do with AI. Like maybe someone wants to pick them up, maybe it's finally made a temporary bottom, and it's got a nice double bottom in here if the market falls. So 2060 on Intel. If we cruise down there and make another bit of a rounded bottom, I'd look for longs on Intel off of that level. So AMD, first time we're shorted. Holo's not really moving much anymore because it already reverted the entire move. And Intel has to probably go another 1% before I take the long on that bad boy. It's only about 30 seconds to go, and you know I did almost no venting, so I'm just going to say before we...
Oh, there it goes.
Well, look, before we go to the midday, guys, it's not about the fourth down play where clearly Josh Allen, to me, got the ball across. If you watch the play before it, Dalton Kincaid 100% got the first down on third down. They shouldn't have had to go for it on fourth down. The ref, you can see him walk it over and like walk in front to go short. He was calling that crap short regardless. He landed on a defender and then he lunged forward. His knee never hit the ground. You can watch the replay. And I'm not even as mad about it as Portnoy was. Like, he went off saying he's never watching football again after that play. That said,
I mean,
Kincaid also dropped. McDermott should have challenged the play.
Yeah.
They rushed up to the line and didn't get it on fourth down. But McDermott, as usual, when it comes to challenges and when it comes to time management, he didn't challenge that play.
Yeah.
They challenge it. For sure, it gets overturned. They keep the ball. They had a lead. Even if they get a field, it changes the entire dynamic of the game. All of that said, Kincaid could have just caught that play on fourth down.
The Bills didn't play good enough to win.
No, they did.
I don't think.
Even with all that,
they could play better.
He had the ball in his hands
I know.
at field goal range to tie the game, and he dropped it.
Look,
at
Josh
the end
Allen
of the day.
with the ball left with 3.5 minutes left.
But he did it. His guy dropped the ball.
No, I know, but I'm just saying he did. I mean, that's what I'm saying is that's what quarterbacks, they got to run for first downs. I love Josh Allen. Just too bad it didn't come out.
I'm bitter.
There.
I'm a little bit bitter, everybody. But the shout out to Mr. Westermeyer. We'll definitely honor it and get you the goods, get you
Obviously.
some merch there for sure. Good man. But obviously, I'm not that happy about it, as you can tell.
A pretty clean game.
Market's starting to roll back in. Let's get over to the Bash Brothers.
Yeah.
I'm kind of curious. On a day like today, is the Playmakers poll still going to be a long?
Yes.
Like, if nobody would vote short today, when would they actually vote short on the Playmaker poll? We'll find out as we take you over to the midday. We'll be back at 2. See you then.
What is up, beautiful people? I didn't take up the